questionable awards. Also on the program this morning, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagwin recalls the House from recess to sit for 5 days to consider urgent parliamentary business. And much later on the program, former Maslock CEO Christian Sedina Tamaklo Ationu released from Nsawam Prison's custody. We'll bring you details. My name is Beatrice Elu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning. Now, a dispute over unpaid scholarships for Ghanaian PhD and master students in the UK and a new verification exercise is exposing fresh questions about Ghana's foreign scholarship scheme. Now, a High Commissioner, Asaba Zita Benson, alleges that some awards covered not only students but also their spouses and children, while more than 180 scholarships were granted in January 2025, leaving the new administration with over £35 million in obligations.
Under the arrangement, government takes responsibility for approved costs such as tuition and stipends, with the Scholarship Administration in Ghana working through Ghana's High Commission in London to support beneficiaries and deal with their universities. But some students say the payments have fallen into arrears, leaving them demanding that government settle outstanding fees and allowances. Now, as the High Commission moves to verify beneficiaries before further payment, High Commissioner Saba Zita Benson says a review of the records is uncovering what she describes as serious irregularity.
I knew when I took office that we were owing about £35 million. And as of last year, we paid £3 million out of the £35 million. And this year, we have started paying some of these debts. But this year, when I visited Edinburgh in Scotland, a group of young people came up to me and they said that they were part of the 2025-2026 admissions. And look, I was shocked because as far as I'm concerned, this NDC government has not sent any students for 2025-2026 academic year. And 2025 is when NDC took office. And so I started my investigations. And then I found out that the previous registrar had brought in 189 students, amounting to about 3.1 or almost 3.2 million pounds. And they were in various universities. Bangor University in Wales alone had about 56 students who entered in January when His Excellency John Mahama had taken power. This man had no business sending students in 2025. To incur more liability on the new government. He had no business doing that.
She alleges that some scholarship packages went beyond the students themselves, with taxpayers also paying for spouses, children, airfares, and allowances for dependents.
Tuition is free, government is paying for it, stipends is free, and then the person, the awardee, comes along with the whole family. Some of these families were as many as 4 children plus spouse, 5 children plus spouse, 3 children plus spouse. And what I can tell you for a fact, my eyes have seen the documents and the payments. I know the travel agents that was collecting these payments to buy tickets for them. It's just I don't want to put their name out there. But they know, listening to me, that travel consult, they know that what I'm saying is true. We paid for whole families, for whole families to move in with their parents and their spouses to come and study master's degree. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwin, has recalled the House from recess to sit for 5 days to consider urgent parliamentary business. In a notice issued on Wednesday, August 12, the Speaker directed members of the House to return to Parliament from Monday, August 24 to Friday, August 28, 2026.
The recall is coming on the back of the reshuffle announced by the president last week. In that reshuffle, there are two nominees. The first is the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, who has been nominated for the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. And also there is MP for Koliklote, Dr. Zaneto Ajiman-Rawlings, who has been nominated for the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. These two must be subjected to a vetting. And so the expectation is that the Speaker would read the formal communication from the President, then refer the two nominations to the Appointment Committee, and then it is expected that within the same week, the Appointment Committee will sit to vet these two nominations before they can assume their role and begin to work. But what is also expected is that because the nomination of the Majority Leader creates a vacuum, we are also expecting that within the recall, the NDC as a party would communicate to Parliament officially who has been nominated to take over the role as a Majority Leader. Also, we know that in July, the President nominated 3 persons for appointment to the Supreme Court. Now, these nominees are Court of Appeal justices, including Sophia Benasco Essa and Amoakwa Sante, as well as legal practitioner and former Ghana Bar Association President Tony Forsey. Now, the President made these nominations in accordance with the Constitution and in consultation with the Judicial Council. And so, as it were, these nominees need prior approval of Parliament, i.e. going through the vetting process before they can be approved by the House, and then subsequently the President can go ahead to swear them into office to begin work. It is expected that this is largely going to be the agenda. But what is also expected is that when there is enough time, other bills like the Constitution of Ghana Amendment Bill seeking to remove current restrictions on dual citizens would be considered when there is ample or enough time.
And we say in Parliament because parliamentary experts have expressed fear the proposal to increase the size of Parliament to 300 seats could be used as a tool of propaganda by political parties to field individuals for partisan interests. The government has accepted a recommendation of the Constitutional Review Committee to introduce a proportional representation to increase the number of women, persons with disability and young people in Parliament. But that has come under scrutiny as some stakeholders argue that the country may be overstretching its legislature.
The practice of reserving seats in Parliament for persons of interest is not new. In Africa, countries like Kenya, Zimbabwe and Sierra Leone, as well as Uganda and Namibia, allocate a number of seats for chiefs, youth, dedicated women representatives and persons with disabilities. But Ghana's adoption of a similar political culture has raised questions, although the intent to make Parliament more inclusive has been lauded. The proposal by the Constitutional Review Committee, adopted by government, will retain the current constituency-based electoral system, but add extra 24 proportional seats to ensure greater participation of groups that have traditionally been underrepresented in Parliament.
The government has accepted that the size of Parliament be capped, and we propose a ceiling of 300 members. The 276 will be elected directly. The remaining 24 will be elected or selected through proportional representation among women, persons with disabilities, and the youth.
But governance and parliamentary experts are warning this could be a setback when political interests override the implementation.
A country with our population really does not need 300 members of parliament. But be it as it may, we have that recommendation. So I will look at how do we ensure that, that is implemented properly, so that it doesn't be tool for propaganda and packing the house with people who don't have any business in being in the house.
In fact, there are some constituencies that are bigger in sizes. A school of thought agrees that for such large areas, MPs cannot adequately serve constituents, and so it becomes even more important to get extra hands to support the elected representatives. But there are the likes of retired Supreme Court Judge William Atuguba, who believe that even the current 276 seats are too much for, quote-unquote, a small country like Ghana.
But I don't know why a small country like Ghana, the number was 100 or so, or up to 270. For what reason and purpose? What is the true benefit to the people from this kind of thing?
Far from the disagreement, Dr. Rashid Draman is suggesting that the proposal be entrenched in the constitution to prevent future political amendment. For some who have voiced concerns, these are issues the Constitution Review Implementation Committee should consider before the relevant bills will be submitted. Christian Yali, TV3 News.
In other news, former Maslow CEO Christian Sedina Tamaklo Ationu has been released from Insawen Prison's custody after she was acquitted and discharged by the Court of Appeal on July 30. Early on Wednesday, the Court of Appeal struck out as withdrawn the application by the Attorney General seeking to halt the release of Sedina from prison custody after the office withdrew the motion. Lord Edwasari has the rest of the story.
Sedina Tamaklo Ationu was acquitted and discharged by the Court of Appeal after it held that she had been wrongly convicted in April 2024. State prosecutors on Wednesday, August 12, informed the court of a notice of withdrawal filed on August 10 after filing the application to stay the execution last month. But the lawyer for the former Maslow CEO, represented by Sidney Antonio, indicated that although he did not oppose the notice of withdrawal, prosecutors ought to have sought leave of the court before proceeding to withdraw since the case had been adjourned for ruling. After hearing the submission, the court then struck out the application as withdrawn. Meanwhile, the Attorney General has filed the application for stay of execution at the Supreme Court. Sedina Tamaklo Ationu was convicted in absentia by the Accra High Court and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment after being found guilty of offences including causing financial loss to the state and stealing. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
We remain at the court, and the Accra High Court has set August 17 for the lawyers of former NAFCO CEO Hanan Abdul-Rahab and his wife Faiza Said-Wuni to be present in court to address the court on their application to stay proceedings pending appeal. Hanan Aludiba and his wife Faiza Wuni have been charged with multiple offences, including stealing, causing financial loss to the state, and money laundering. Lord Edwasari again.
Both defense lawyers, Godfred Yeboadame and Augustine Obo, were absent when the case was called on Wednesday, August 12. Hanan Aludiba and his wife explained that the lawyers took ill after petitioning the Chief Justice to stop the court sittings during the legal vacation. The former NAFCO CEO further explained that Richard Jembibi, his lawyer second in command, was out of town marking scripts for the Ghana School of Law. He added that he had been handed a copy of an application to stay proceedings filed at the Court of Appeal and hence pleaded with the court for a long adjournment, by which time his counsel would have recovered and the application would be heard. But Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Ramsay opposed the plea for adjournment. He told the court that Godfred Dame had already indicated he would not be able to conduct the trial during the legal vacation and hence would be absent. The presiding judge then adjourned the matter to August 17 to allow the defense counsel to appear before him to address the courts on the application to stay proceedings pending the appeal of the court's decision. The trial judge also directed the Deputy Attorney General to follow up on the seized items of Hanan Aludiba and his wife within the custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office. Now, the accused person had told the court that despite orders of the court to have their items released to them, Iyoko was still holding on to them and had failed to release same to them. The court then ordered the Deputy Attorney General to ensure that these items are released to Hanan Aludiba and his wife, Faiza Said-Wuni. We are back in court on Monday, August 17, for the case to continue. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Some more here, and illegal mining is spreading across Ghana's northern region, raising concerns over water pollution, food security and public health. At the CSIR WRI Mid-Year Review 2026, Scientists warned that if the trend continues, the impact on food production and human health could be severe.
Experts say pollutants linked to illegal mining have been detected in the Upper West, Upper East, Savannah, Northeast, and Borno East regions. They warn that the damage could eventually surpass the devastation recorded in the Ankobra and Tano River systems. Research scientist Dr. Zita Ambutori says high levels of cadmium, cyanide, and lead have been detected in parts of the Volta River system, a major source of water for farming and domestic use.
We found some of the pollutants that are associated with illegal mining in the Volta River, especially in the black and the white. Once we still have a good number of our population depending on the Volta stretch without treatment, it means that they are at risk over time. It's really worrying because what we have seen in the south, especially with the river Akobra, the Brim, we haven't reached that level on the Volta River system. We are encouraging governments and all who are involved that everybody should wake up, that it's serious, that though we may have this gradual pollution coming up in the water system, it can increase over time if it's not stopped.
Scientist Dr. Sylvester Aframbwedi warns that unless Ghana changes its approach to illegal mining, food production and public health could face serious consequences.
Because we haven't changed our approach in managing our mining mineral resources, you see the results. Our waters are still being destroyed. The environment is still being destroyed. If we don't change our approach, our food system will be affected. It will not be sustainable. We'll have limited food production. We are crying of high cost of food, unavailability of food, when we can produce per unit volume of water and per unit space of land. So if we don't change it and transform it, we will be hungry in the nearest future.
Vast acres of farmland have been degraded and polluted across the western north, central, eastern, and Ashanti regions as illegal miners use cyanide and other dangerous chemicals to extract gold. Despite the fact that various governments over the last 2 decades have embarked on various efforts to contain the menace, there seems not to be any serious or determined will to nip the menace in the bud. With these findings from scientists on the dangers, will authorities take drastic action now to preserve the current and future generations, or will the half-hearted approach to the issue continue? Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
This is still a News Morning here on Newday on TV3 News. Coming in indicates that there has been a major accident on the Ofankor Barrier Road. We understand that a number of people are feared dead, and at the moment the Ghana National Fire Service officials are there overseeing to perhaps those who might have survived the accident to try and rescue them. And we do understand also, per the report we're receiving, that it involves a tipper truck and a sprinter which collided. And like I said, reports suggest that a number of people are feared dead following that crash, which happened in the early hours of today. And like I did mention, emergency team officials are currently on the scene, responders as it were, including the Ghana National Fire Service, attending to those who may need urgent help and to assess the extent of the accident.
Coming to life from Ofankor Barrier, where a very terrible accident involving a tipper truck and a sprinter bus. People are seriously injured and some are dead. It's a very serious situation, and we are here at the scene trying to work around the situation.
And in the next few minutes, we'll be speaking to the Ghana National Fire Service to bring us the latest on that. But if you're just joining us, a number of people are feared dead per report we're receiving following that major accident on the Ofankor Barrier Road. Well, that's it for News Morning here on Newday on TV3. My name is Beatrice Sedu. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Do continue with us on Newday. accident, and I'm sure when we speak to Mr. King Nate, he'll be able to confirm to us how many people unfortunately have lost their lives in the early hours of today and how many have been injured. And yes, we'll be bringing you all the details of that. But before we speak to him, perhaps I can run you through some of the things that you should be expecting for this morning. We'll be looking at the Sedina Tamaklo issue, you understand, per the information that came in. Okay, so we'll bring you all the details that you need to know. But quickly, we need to go to Mr. Alex Kinate, who is with the PR department of the Ghana National Fire Service. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning to yourself.
Unfortunate news this morning. I know that you and your team members are currently on the scene. Tell us where exactly within your Fanko area it happened and what's you've confirmed so far as regards the details of this unfortunate incident.
So good morning to yourself and to your viewers. The unfortunate thing is around 4 a.m. we received a call of a multi-vehicle collision on the Ofankor stretch. And to paint a picture, when you are on the main road heading from Pokwati towards Ofankor barrier, it's just before you get to the power station, just on the main road. And so again, I would urge motorists trying that road to avoid using the main road but keep to the outer lane because those over here will stop all the vehicles on the main road from going since you're embarking on the station. As it stands now, unfortunately, we've counted about 10 bodies, 10 people who are unfortunately dead. Most of their bodies are badly mutilated. We rescued one little girl. Unfortunately, both her legs were severed. There was another man whose hand was severed. Other people's bodies are totally crushed. It's an ugly scene here, and we are here with the ambulance. There are some people who are unconscious. We did our best to revive them with the help of the ambulance service, and we handed them over to the ambulance service for attendance, and we're taking them to some hospitals. But the fortunate thing for us is that we've been able to remove all the people from the affected vehicle, and we are doing an assessment of the area.
You're saying that it involved multi-vehicles. I'll get details of that, but again, just repeating what you said, you've been able to count about 10 bodies. You talk about 2 children, a young girl and a boy, you say, whose legs have been severely severed, you said, and then you talk about...
It's a young girl. No boy.
It's a young girl. Okay.
Yes.
And then you talk about others unconscious. How many of the victims, unfortunately, did you find unconscious in this accident?
Can you come again with the last part?
Yes. How many people did you find unconscious, aside from the number of deaths that you've confirmed?
Well, we found about 7 people. We were able to help rescue them, and we handed them over to the ambulance service. There was one lady that we tried reviving, but unfortunately, her body went cold. It's a difficult situation. We are not just drawing conclusion with the death, but we are doing our best that we check pulses, and then when we feel pulse, we do our best to try and help them resuscitate.
Unfortunately, let me get the numbers again. 10 bodies you've retrieved, and you talk about 7 unconscious. You talk about 2 children. Overall, looking, because I heard you...
One child, please.
One child.
A little girl whose leg was severed.
One child. You said that you've been able to take all the bodies and indeed the people who were involved in the accident out. So in total, how many people were on board the vehicle where you retrieved all these bodies and also rescued the other individuals?
So the assessment is still ongoing. So I might not be able to give the actual figure yet until we are totally done with the whole operation. But then it involved 2 spot trucks, 2 Mercedes-Benz buses, a Toyota Camry vehicle, and then an Uber branded little smoker, and then also a tricycle, which we normally call Abubuya. And so, but there was the black Mercedes-Benz bus had more of the casualty in there.
Okay.
And so for now, we are trying to still assess the extent of the damage, and then be able to confirm the number of occupancy in the various vehicles.
I know that your men are there, but are you able to tell us which other emergency responders are equally there for those who may need first aid even before they are transported to the hospital?
So we are here with our police brothers are here with us, helping us, especially to convey the dead bodies. And then also the ambulance service will be in and out, taking bodies, taking the injured in and out. And so we are, so far the police, ourselves, the police, who are the first responders here, and then the police, and then the ambulance.
Okay. Alex Kenati, just to get some clarification, and you and I know what the experiences are, what meets the human eye may not be medically fit. And for many of the times, these live reports, as media, we tend to report a certain number of casualties or fatalities, but you find that medically they may not be pronounced dead. Subsequently, then we go in retrospect to try to correct the numbers. So you saw, or it is suspected that you found 12 unconscious bodies. Is that it? Or have they been medically certified to have passed?
Okay, so let me clarify. So what I said was that after now we've counted about 10 bodies who are dead because their bodies are badly mutilated.
Okay.
Some of their bodies are very crushed. So they are still here. We've not taken anyone to the mortuary yet.
Okay.
And so those that were able to retrieve who are unconscious, we handed them over to the ambulance service, and together with them, we did our best with CPRs and other first aid interventions to try and resuscitate them. So we didn't just put unconscious people down. We're trying our best to help with those who are unconscious and then check pulses before. And so after now, nobody has been taken away apart from those who are badly injured or visibly mutilated.
Early hours, early days yet, but are you able to tell us what might have caused this accident with these multiple vehicles that you talk about? And what time it happened?
Well, it happened around 4 a.m. There are conflicting reports. Everybody will try, especially some of the drivers involved, everybody might try to take things out, insulate them from the situation. And so we wouldn't want to put out that information yet because we are with the police and we want to carry out thorough investigation before being able to confirm the actual cause of the accident.
In the midst of this is also the understanding that the Ofanko Road is equally a major one. How are your men, plus the police officials who are there managing the traffic as we speak, even as you try to deal with this accident?
What happened was that after the time the accident happened, vehicles were still plying the road. And so we have to take a decisive step to block the whole road so that somebody goes. Because as we are carrying out the rescue duties, we'll be going in and out, and we don't want any vehicle obstructing the flow of our work. And so for now, we block the whole road. On the main road, no car is going because we are here. And so when we are done, we'll make sure that we clear the vehicles, the mangled vehicles or the involved vehicles from the road, and then we have our fire tender here. We'll wash the debris of the vehicles and then the blood stains and clear the road before. And so I'm sure it will take a few more hours for us to finish completely with the operation here.
For those who may be using this very road, are there alternatives that you can let them know now, just so that they ahead of time they're able to know which route to use, because you've blocked the main road that they normally would have used if it wasn't for the accident?
So unfortunately, it looks like, unfortunately, the best you can do is to let them know that they have to, when they get from Pokwati towards Ofanko, they should not join the main road. They should just use the outer lane. But for those who are already here, unfortunately, it's a bit too late for them. They are all stuck in the traffic here.
Perhaps we may have to leave it here and we'll come back to you for an update. But okay, Roland, do you want to come in? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Alex Kinate, who is with the PR department of the Ghana National Fire Service. If you're just joining us, he was giving us details of the accident that happened, per what he just told us, around 4 a.m. today on the Ofanko Road, involving multiple vehicles, two tipper trucks, Toyota. He talked about Benz as well as a tricycle, what you normally call a boboya on our roads. And so far, he's confirmed that 7 people who survived the accident but were unconscious have already been taken out of the mangled vehicles, and unfortunately 10 bodies they retrieved, and he seemed to confirm that those are actually individuals, bodies of individuals who died. And he said that one child who had a severed leg had equally been rescued as well. And of course they're still doing investigations, and as they rescue people and try to see what they can do. If you use the Ofankor Road, the information is that until they're able to deal with this very problem and the debris associated with it, that entire stretch is within where the accident happened is blocked, and so you may want to consider other routes. Roland.
Well, so that's the current situation, and the latest we can report to you is that the Ghana National Fire Service is at the epicenter, the accident scene, rescuing efforts underway, and it also means that the stretch from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle area to Nsawam is clogged with a lot of traffic, particularly also from the rivers, if you know that you have to make entry into town. And so if you are coming into town from that part of whether the eastern region or Nsawam or Accra, that will be Nsawam, Ajin Kotoku, Amasaman, etc. It also means that you have to be very careful which of the routes you use before you get to downtown. And it's because there's been a massive accident, road crash or accident, and we have, according to what the reports from the Ghana National Fire Service, as we can quote officially, they're already seeing 10 mutilated bodies so far, and suspiciously or suspected to be dead, 10 bodies so far, and then counting the others that are unconscious and they have to be medically pronounced to be either dead or not. And that's the latest we're having. Early morning accident, not the very good news that you would want to hear. If you're watching us from outside Accra, it also means that we have to ask you what you make of this, because there's always the concern about the big trucks that tend to park on main roads, and then subsequently, whether you're using the road and oncoming cars are coming without any sort of caution, we tend to record some of these intermittent accidents involving many of these, what they call in roadworthiness, heavy duty vehicles. And that's also one of the reasons why we're having this road accident. So far, the Ghana National Service on the scene, we're told that the police service, they've also marshaled personnel to be able to direct traffic and then also help the situation as it is. So far, also, what has been identified is that because of the way the cars were mangled, the Ghana National Fire Service, as well as the Ghana Police Service, had to use other implements or tools to be able to cut through the metal of the cars, the crashed cars, to be able to get the dead as well as the injured out of those cars as well. Not a very good situation, as you can find. And please, if you're just around there also, let's know what the situation is at the current site where we are having the rescuing effort underway, Beatrice.
Indeed, and we'll be bringing you all the latest, as you heard me say, that when there's another development to this, we'll bring you, perhaps Mr. Kinlati can join us again, or any other means of bringing this information to you. But let me just remind you that 10 people, based on what Mr. Kinlati said to have died from this accident, a child retrieved with severed legs, 7 unconscious, and this very accident, which happened around 4 a.m., involved multiple vehicles. And currently, if you're within the Ofankor area, be reminded that the road is blocked. You're advised to use other alternative routes, and you heard him say outer lane, just so that you're able to move to and fro depending on which side of the road you find yourself. But welcome to this morning segment. This is still TV3 Newday, and we're bringing you updates on the accident which happened on the Ofanko Road early this morning at 4 a.m. based on the report we just received from the Ghana National Fire Service, Alex Kinati, who is with the PR department. Unfortunately, he told us that they retrieved 10 mutilated bodies, which presupposes that 10 people are feared dead in that accident, even as they continue to try and see what else they can find in the mangled vehicle. 7 people are unconscious. We want you to call in, especially if you find yourself in this very area. Tell us what the situation is like, or you happen to have witnessed this accident which happened earlier today. Let us know as well. But a number of you have already sent in your messages, and perhaps before you call in, we can read some of them back to you. But before we bring in the messages that you have sent us, we want to remind you that as part of our program this morning, we'll be bringing you the conversation about Sedina Tamaklo Ationu, the former CEO of Maslock, who yesterday was released from the Insawam prisons, and also bring you a bit more detail regarding what the Attorney General has done. Remember that after she was brought in to serve her 10-year jail term and the Court of Appeal acquitted her, the Attorney General went to a higher court, as it were, to try and challenge that acquittal by the Court of Appeal. In addition to that, there was also an application filed by the Attorney General at the Court of Appeal to, as it were, prevent her from being released from the Insawam prisons. That was withdrawn, and another one filed at the Supreme Court yesterday. But yesterday, again, the information came through that she's been released from the prison. So we'll be looking at really the legality around this whole thing, and really what is the way forward for us. And you also have been following the story about why it seems the Chief Justice has asked a number of cases to be heard within the legal vacation, and a number of people already contesting it. We'll be going into that as well, and whether or not there are any legal provisions, as it were, that support or against what the Chief Justice Bafuboni has requested be done during this legal vacation. We started on the 1st of August. It's supposed to end 30th of September this year. We'll be going into that as well. But remember that we will be bringing you updates on sports as well, the latest in the world of sport and any other thing you need to know. And so you want to stay with us. The phone lines are activated, and we also do have our WhatsApp lines also activated as well. And in the course of this conversation, we'll be bringing you a young lady, a 10-year-old who has been installed as a queen mother. We'll be bringing you her stories, a special documentary done by my colleague, Portia Gabo. We'll bring you that. But let me tell you today, our regular guest who will be joining in to help us break some of the issues that I've just told you about. We will have with us Kwame Nkrumah Bocho, who is a private legal practitioner. He's our regular on Thursdays. He'll be joining us. We'll have Al-Hassan Abdul Fattah, who is a member of parliament for the Yendi constituency. We'll also have Mr. Lom Nuku Ahlija. He's equally a private legal practitioner, and also Kwesi Boche Jr., who is lawyer and member of the MPP National Communications team. So they'll be joining us to break these stories down and really the implications and what we need to do moving forward.
Well, subsequent to that also, we'll go live to the accident scene, and it's Ofanko right here in Accra. Myself and the rest of the technical crew will bring you the latest from there as well. But these are live pictures we're bringing to you. An accident has occurred this morning, just about over the last 1 hour or 2 ago. The emergency lines for the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, were very busy as a result of this accident. And so far, rescue efforts underway. We already have been told by the PR department person who spoke to us, ADO Kinati. And Alex Kinati is indicating that at least so far, based on the bodies they've retrieved, 10 are suspected to be dead, and subsequently there are other injuries and other individuals who are unconscious as well. Medical help is being sought. We're told that accident dispatches are on the way, And it also means that we have to get the issue under control. But again, based on what the narration has been, and then eyewitness reports, these also involved heavy-duty vehicles that had been parked on the road, and then also oncoming ones, which subsequently led to this collision. And as a result, the mangled cars themselves meant that that nature of the mangled cars prompted the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana National Patrol Team as well, and the police service using implements or other tools to be able to cut through the mangled cars to be able to get access to the mangled bodies or mutilated bodies of those affected victims. We'll bring you the latest as it is.
Indeed, and let me just read a few of your messages that you've sent in to us. This is coming from Mr. Simon Yen, way up north from Wa, and he says the Ofankor Barrier road crash is very disturbing. I think as a country we need to start thinking of having designated roads for heavy truck duties separate from smaller vehicles. Good morning to you and Roland. Thank you very much, Mr. Simon Yen, sending in that message from Wa in the Upper West region. And this is coming from Sherry Giovanni. Says, good morning, Beatrice, Roland. What at all is happening on our roads? The rate at which cars are colliding with one another, resulting in the loss of lives, must be a concern to the authorities. The police, MTTD, the GPRTU and the Ministry of Transport must come together and engage drivers in these matters. Valuable lives are being lost every day and it isn't pleasant at all. May God have mercy on all travelers. That's coming from Sherry Giovanni. And yes, keep sending in your messages. And like we said, if you find yourself in the Ofankor area, let us know as well what the situation is. Perhaps you were equally a witness of that accident based on the report which happened around 4 a.m. today. What did you see, even as the investigative bodies begin digging into what might have caused this accident involving multiple vehicles? Let us know as well the traffic situation, again, if you find yourself in this area, just so we're able to give as much information as possible to help the authorities unravel what might have happened and what needs to be done moving forward.
So we are trying to create space within the car to bring her out. We are trying to create space to bring her out to avoid. So we are asking her if she's dealing with this one, we can be able to help her. So this is the situation that we are dealing with. Stadium Win and Experience coming to life from Ofankor Barrier, where a very terrible accident involving a tipper truck and the sprinter bus. People are seriously injured and some are dead. It's a very serious situation and we are here at the scene trying to work around it. So we are trying to create space within the car to bring her out. We are trying to create space to bring her out to avoid. So we are asking her if she's dealing with this one, we can be able to help her. So this is the situation that we are dealing with. Stadium Win and Experience coming to life from Ofankor Barrier, where a very terrible accident involving a tipper truck and the sprinter bus. People are seriously injured and some are dead. It's a very serious situation and we are here at the scene trying to work around it.
And that said, let's give you an overview of the accident situation, but also the road fatality issues when it comes to what the numbers and the statistics are that have been picked by the National Road Safety Authority, as well as the relevant agencies that are concerned with that. And these numbers have been recorded straight from the main stretch, Accra-Kumasi Road, and just for the first 6-7 months of the year, every indication that reported incidents so far, numbering about 31 and this morning's not included, as well as the other numbers over the last couple of weeks not included as well. The known injuries so far, 264 based on the last reports, January to the early part of August, per the period that this data has been captured, and the fatalities, meaning dead, 14, and fatal incident 14, and then 42 persons are reported to have lost their lives. Now we'll bring you the monthly breakdown as well, and for July at least we know that 19 deaths were recorded from 8 incidents, but January we had 4, February 1, and then we had the highest in March, and then the lowest being so far February, and then counting before today was this month. But certainly, based on the numbers we're getting this morning, the numbers have increased. And July has the highest with 19. Grave concern for everybody else. You know, there are some key hotspots on the stretch, the Accra-Kumasi Highway. And for many of you tend to travel there just about last week or so, just around the Brimso Bridge, we had, again, some fatal accidents. And then the affected cars also got bent as well. And that had raised a number of questions, particularly on social media, as to our own emergency responses, and then what also the relevant precautionary measures and education that are given to drivers and for many of those long-distance commuters as well. So you find Accra to in Sawam relatively a very peaceful road, so to speak. I mean the safety measurement on that stretch of the Accra-Kumasi Highway seem to be in a very relaxed position based on observation. But where we have the hotspot on the stretch will be the Suhum towards the Suboy area. And then when you get to Konongo and then Odumase area in the Ashanti region, very close to Edgeso as well. And that's where the concern is for many people, because over the last period, you'll find that just within this year alone, we've had 9 incidents at the Suhum Suboy stretch. And then also when you get to Konongo and Odumase, you'll find that 16 deaths also had been recorded. Now, the concern is, how do we make sure that we're able to count the casualty rates, so to speak? On 15th of July in Odumase, 14 deaths were recorded. And then also we had 44 injured. And this involved a bus, a truck driver, or a truck in itself, and then also a fuel transporting vehicle known to many of us as a tanker. In all, we have about 57% of all the deaths coming from these related incidents recorded not only in Odumase, but also 14th February in Ntwaso, Bunso Junction by close to the early days of May, specifically on May 6, 2026, recording a fire incident in which 5 deaths were also recorded. And subsequently, we can put a figure to some of the deadliest clashes so far. On the 15th of July incident near Konongo, what we have termed the Odumase crash, we had 14 people dying and then 44 others getting injured. Now, it just basically was an incident involving a tomato truck. So a truck was transporting tomatoes. The driver lost control while in the period trying to do an overtaking of another vehicle. And then a passenger was hit and subsequently getting a collision with a fuel tanker as well. According to what the incident reports have been, there have been a number of issues and then also factors for which we have some of these major incidents. So you find that speeding, and for many of these truck drivers that are affected, veering off the road, becoming some of the notable or observable incident points. Then we have the incident that involved a number of the accidents, at least for 9 of them, they involve head-on collisions. So an oncoming vehicle colliding with another one or running into the next one. And then for the fire, as well as the other incident, we had 7 incidents being recorded, and then fire erupting at the same site when we had the incidents recorded. Now, some also could be linked to mechanical failure. And for all the incidents we're recording, 6 of those accidents that were recorded were attributed to mechanical failure of the vehicles. And again, questioning the roadworthiness that's supposed to be observed by the drivers as well as the owners of these vehicles intermittently, because you tend to do your roadworthy certification or re-registration just once in a year. But then we have, of course, officials of the Ghana Police Service through the MTTD trying to check some of these roadworthiness of these vehicles. But when the car is en route, the driver has that responsibility. The owner of that vehicle also has that responsibility to be able to make sure that their vehicles are in a state of roadworthiness, so that we don't tend to record mechanical failures, leading to, at least as we noticed, 6 of those incidents so far. And then sometimes you find out, for many of us who tend to take some of these long distance routes, particularly when it comes to the Accra-Kumasi highway or some of those major highways, you find stationary trucks or items or big items that maybe they could be goods that have been offloaded onto the road, or you could find deposited sand, hips, etc. on the road. And so stationary hazards have been an incident point, resulting in injuries and deaths in at least 3 incidents that were recorded over the period. Now, the issue then will be, when the tracks are broken down, what needs to be done? Because for many of the times, you find that for the broken down heavy-duty trucks, you find that they are left on the shoulders of the road. And if in a situation where what we found in one of those incidents, like an oncoming car is trying to avoid an overtaking car, then that leads to a collision. And 3 of those crashes were as a result of that. The oncoming cars ran into stationary trucks, or those who were also behind also ran into stationary trucks that were ahead of them as well. And so that is a concern for many. And if you speak to many as well, they will also try to relate to some of these ones. Now, the point is, which type of vehicles then are involved in some of these incidents as we recorded so far based on the statistics on the Accra-Kumasi highway? You'll find that 77% of the accidents or the incident that were recorded involved running into heavy-duty trucks. And these heavy-duty trucks, they could be trailers, they could also be tankers, etc. And then also, you also find that 32% involve some of these fuel transporting vehicles as well. And some of those incidents, at least for that 32%, resulted in spilling of the content or the oil that they were transporting, and subsequently resulting in the incident site erupting into a blaze. And that gives us an overview as to what the current situation is currently. It doesn't look good, Beatrice, but it also means that while we're cautious on the road, others make it impossible for you to sometimes drive defensively. Is that not the case?
I mean, the situation on our roads, and the last time we had a major road conversation, you saw how passionate I was about it. There's so many challenges on our roads that I think that we need to really be serious as a country to look at critically. And again, when we're talking earlier, we're talking about the GPRTU. And keep going back to how we're driving on our roads, and also when it comes to the issue of roadworthiness, as it were. And it's just interesting that we're talking about this morning, because it was just yesterday I was speaking with a sister in UK who was talking to me about the kind of system that we have there in terms of going to get your roadworthy, where you need a certified mechanic to give you. But for me, the question I want to ask is, what kind of rigorous system that we take drivers through when they go to our DVLA offices to try and get their roadworthy. It's not just about paying the money and getting your sticker on your car. Are we taking all our drivers through the necessary measures, as it were, to ensure that the car is actually roadworthy, and it's not just about me paying to get a sticker on my vehicle? And I think that that's something that we must look into, because I can tell you that not all the vehicles go through the necessary rigorous roadworthy process just before they get that, and there's a need for us to look at that. And even looking at the cars that are smoking on the roads, and a lot of the time when you see these trucks on the roads in front of you, they are emitting carbon monoxide. Sometimes you can tell that they hardly take their cars for servicing. And recently we had one of our colleagues within the Tema industrial area on a major stretch telling us a story. He brought us a report about a number of trucks that were parked on the roadside. Most of them were coming from other countries, and they were given the excuse that they don't have anywhere to park. So the question I asked was, are we waiting for a major accident to happen on that stretch before we find parking lots for them, or punish them for parking there for very long hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and then nobody is doing anything about it because there doesn't seem to be any, or we haven't seen any major accidents yet. So we seem to be more reactionary than being proactive to prevent some of these things. And 77% of accidents coming from these trucks, that's very huge. And again, you're seeing these accidents in the early hours or late nights, and you realize that a number of people, exactly, the road, of course, we've always been talking about our street lights, but also in places where you have street lights, if you've observed, before 5 a.m., a lot of the lights just show the amber, they just flicker. And so when you're driving, because it's just amber, they start functioning the red, go, green, like you normally say it, after 5 a.m. And so if you're driving before that time, you need to be extra careful looking at the trucks that or cars that are coming from the adjoining roads and all of that. And I think a lot of the time you talk about visibility and people not being extra careful, looking at all of these signs, and then we find ourselves in some of these preventable accidents sometimes, really. We don't have information yet as regards what might have happened in this one, but really, like a number of you already sending us messages on, we need to be able to look at this and reduce really our accident rates, because a number of them are human-based, really, just human faults. People just not being careful enough or just driving carelessly because they think they are behind the steer. We need to really look at this.
Yeah, for some of our viewers, their own experiential moments on the road also lays credence to a number of concerns they have as well. And particularly for the subject matter of the visibility, Diana Pang in Tamale says that she particularly had an experience while driving towards Techiman, or had the experience in Techiman, on the Techiman-Tamale road, where some of these big trucks, one of the drivers or the incident points that she observed will not give her way to just have an overtaking, and subsequently in her efforts had to just veer off and then drive into the bush, and subsequently had to go and then also report the driver to the MTTD personnel who were on the road ahead as well. And Godwin also is also concerned about the poor visibility, particularly highlights that are used by individuals on the road.
Oh, yes.
And result in a number of concerns so far about what has been the reasons why we're having some of these incidents. Now, particularly to know that this very incident is involving heavy-duty trucks, might have been parked on the road as well, per what the eyewitness report and then also the Ghana National Fire Service is telling us this morning. It also means that if you're driving, particularly when we have long stretches of Ghana's road network, not lighted, very dark and opaque, it also means that you have to be more careful than usual.
Yes, and I know that some years ago we also said that we were banning what we call aboboya on our major streets, and we still see them. And anytime I see them, I ask, where are the officials who are supposed to be arresting these people, or whatever it is that they need to do to enforce this very ban of these trucks, as it were, on our roads? they need to be able to put that in place, because this very accident, like you heard Mr. Alex Kinati, it involved a tricycle as well. So what was that tricycle doing on such a major highway at this time of the day?
Yeah.
And you find them even during the day carrying bags of sachet water, just obstructing traffic. And again, the question, MTTD, where are you? Or the officials supposed to be ensuring that we don't have these trucks, as it were, on our roads. So obviously, there's still a lot more to do and a lot more proactivity from us that we need to implement.
Well, certainly. Well, so that's the latest coming on the Ofankor stretch. That's close to Achimota, Accra, right here. The main stretch, Accra to Insawam. The accidents recorded so far, we're told that at least we have 10 fewer dead. And this report, we're quoting the Ghana National Fire Service so far. And they are drawing those conclusions based on how badly or mutilated the bodies that they've retrieved from the mangled, affected vehicles have been. And so not any clinical decision made so far. However, they also have a couple more bodies that look like they're unconscious. So some of the victims there as well. And then others also have been injured, and they are being taken to the hospital as we speak, going to receive medical treatment for emergency such as this. We'll be there live. We'll bring you the latest, and then we'll get to know how the rescue effort went, and then also what effort is being made to make sure that those who have been affected get the latest help as it is. And then also for those who have witnessed this, the affected residents, the adjoining areas, how and then why this also happened as well. So we'll take you there. But in the meantime, we have to go for a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest interactions on big issues with Beatrice and the rest of the guests.
Now you can always pack up the Milky Way with a rich, smooth taste of Peck Milk Shortcake. It is pure delight. Get one for yourself and your loved ones. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. And you're still here on New Day on TV3. Welcome to the big issue. This morning, we'll be looking into the Sedina Tamaklo issue, the fact that she's been released from the Nsawam prisons following her acquittal, and also what the Attorney General, the kind of steps the AG has taken to try to reverse that, and also to, as it were, appeal the acquittal by the Court of Appeal, which was done quite recently. So we'll be going into all the legal ramifications of what has transpired over the last few days, and we'll be going as well into the constitutional provisions and really the judgment that was given, which really led to the acquittal. We would also be looking as well into the contest, as it were, against the decision to hear cases within the legal vacation, and what sort of legal provisions are available for or against the decision of the Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni. We'll be going into that. But we'll start with what we broke to you this morning, the unfortunate incident about the accident on the Ofanko Road. We've already had the Ghana National Fire Service PRO telling us that they retrieved 10 mutilated bodies from the mangled vehicle, and also we've had about 7 people who are unconscious. They are still looking through the debris to see what else or who probably they may find again, and it involves as well multiple vehicles, and we heard the fire service PRO tell us about 2 tipper trucks, a Toyota vehicle, tricycle as well, Benz, and also the fact that this morning, as they continue to clear the debris and continue with the rescue operation as well, the road, which is the Ofanko main road, would equally be blocked, and commuters have been advised to use alternative routes as they try to deal with this very issue at hand. Let me remind you that my colleague Roland Walker is currently heading towards the accident scene, and he'll be bringing us everything we need to know regarding what the responders and rescuers are doing there. Early in the morning, when we spoke to the fire service again, we had Mr. Kenlate confirming to us that aside from the Ghana National Fire Service representatives who were there, there was also the police as well. And we'll be bringing you all the latest you need to know on that. But perhaps I can introduce to you my panel and just get a quick thought on this, because obviously it's not the first accident that's happened in the country. We've had a number of accidents, and the data we brought you earlier, before today's accident, we had about 46 or so deaths, less than 50 deaths from accidents just up to August, beginning of August this year alone. So obviously, if we are having, as at now, 10 people dead, it means that the numbers are rising. What are the factors leading to this? And let me say that we have in the studio with us the Honorable Abdul Fattah Al Hassan. He's a member of Parliament for Yendi. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning to your cherished viewers, and good morning to the good people of Yendi, and to my co-panelists. Very good morning to you.
And right on his left, which is my extreme right, is also Mr. Kwesi Boche Jr. He's lawyer and member of the MPP Communications, National Communications. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you as well for joining us.
Looks like you wish I was an NDC man.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I also do have I also do have in the studio with us Mr. Lom Nuku Ahlija. He's equally a private legal practitioner, law lecturer at GIMPA. Good morning to you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Beatrice.
Yes.
I hope you are doing good.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine, and everything is okay.
Yes.
I'd like to say a very good morning to the good people of Keta.
All right. And of course, last but not the least, our regular panel member as well, Mr. Kwame Nkrumah Bochu. He's equally a private legal practitioner. It's great to see you here this morning.
Good to see you, Beatrice. It's been a while.
Yes.
Good morning to you, my co-panelists and Ghanaians everywhere.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we're not waking up to good news this morning. The fire service has confirmed to us that 10 mutilated bodies were retrieved from this accident I was just talking to us about. I mean, for somebody who knows what happens on our roads as well, what are your preliminary thoughts on this unfortunate incident we've received? We understand it happened around 4 a.m. today.
I think it's very sad. My thoughts go out to the bereaved families. And I believe that when it comes to such accidents, we've tried our best. I hear there was a Sprinter bus involved. I don't know the full details, but we've always had these issues with Sprinter, Voxy, and other things. And I don't know when it will end. Ever since I was born, we've had these issues with, and somehow it always seems to be commercial vehicles.
And Aboboya equally involved.
And Aboboya.
Tricycle.
You see. However, even though we are a developing country, we are making advances in leaps and strides. And I think we should continue to concentrate more on our rail sector. Those of us who travel occasionally, we know that in the developed countries, there's a lot of reliance on rail transportation.
For long journeys.
And even for short journeys. And they are not without their disadvantages, but relatively they are safer than this mode of transport. And we should also look at our bus rapid transfer. I think during President Kufuor's time, for a short period, we had these double-decker buses that in the early 80s, I think it was called Anti-Dede or something. They were phased out of the system. During that time, I was at the University of Ghana, and I used to take that bus a lot when I was going to town. We should look at that. These mini buses, as much as they provide sustenance for families, and we have to take another look at it, because here are at least 10 breadwinners gone. What is going to happen to their family? It has a ripple effect. And in the short term, there should be something done about it. But at the same time, it shouldn't be such a knee-jerk reaction that you are going to deprive people of their sustenance. Let's put checks in place. I don't know what was on that road that caused it. If it's a road that people speed unduly, let's have speed ramps there. Let's put what we need to do in order to avoid this situation, whilst in the long term, looking at rail transport and other modes.
And I want to come to you, Lawyer Hija. Really, your thoughts as well.
Well, it's a very sad situation. It's sad news to hear this early morning, and our thoughts and our prayers go out to the families who will be affected, because you mentioned that about 10 people have passed away, and I can see also from the screen that some 7 people are unconscious.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen.
And a little girl too had the leg severely severed.
That is really serious, and they are still going through, the rubble and so on. So you don't know what else to uncover. It's really sad to hear this news this morning. Of course, looking at the number of vehicles involved, it means that something obviously went wrong on that road. We don't know yet the details, but perhaps this is a time to always reflect about the way in which we drive on our roads, because, for instance, in the city or inner city, in most places, you see that the speed limit is not up to even 50, but you can see people making up to 100 and so on. I think there's a lot of room for education, for people to perhaps be further reminded. It's not that we don't know, because anybody who drives, obviously, you've gotten a license, so you should know some basics, but perhaps room for education and so on, and also enforcement, because some of the things that sometimes you see happen in our country, you go to other jurisdictions, and we are the same people, but when we travel, we kind of advise ourselves.
We align.
Yes, I drive sometimes when I am outside Ghana, and the truth is that when I'm outside Ghana, I'm more cautious, because there's nothing like, it's not like Ghana where sometimes a police officer will stop you when they see the sticker. They'll be like, cancel. And then they'll try and talk to you, and then sometimes even you have done something wrong, they'll advise you and let you go because you're a lawyer and so on. In our jurisdictions, it doesn't matter whether you're the president or, the mayor and so on. So we advise ourselves, which means that it is about the systems they have put in place and all of that, which also suggests that in our case, the way in which we also enforce laws and rules around, road traffic, regulations and so on, has a bearing on how people behave. So we are yet to get the details, but it's sad what has happened. And we hope that this will be used as a learning point for authorities involved in, safety and road traffic regulations and so on, to take this opportunity to further educate the public so that we can avoid such situations.
Indeed. Lawyer Kwesi Boatweh.
I'm very sad. I'm very heartbroken because that constituency is my constituency. I live in that area. And so it's a very sad news. I've just been texting with the Member of Parliament and I've just informed her. I think that Ofankor has claimed too many lives. It has claimed too many lives. And so what we can do is to pray for the families because dreams have been shattered. I'm sure all these 10 people belong to very important families of society. What can I say more? I mean, let's thank the Ghana National Fire Service, the police, because I'm just reading that the accident happened around 4 a.m. this dawn. I mean, it's a heartbreaking development. It's a sad story. But one thing that I have come to realize is that roads necessarily do not cause accidents. Accidents are caused by fatigue, careless driving, jumping red lights, and all sorts of, indecent driver activities. And so we are pleading with the drivers. Exactly a year ago, on 5th August, there was an accident at the same spot of Ofankor Barrier. July last year, there was another accident at Ofankor Barrier. About 3 people also died in that accident. And so I think that something should critically be done about the Ofankor Barrier. I don't know if it's because usually at dawn and at midnight, the road is very clear, and so drivers think that they can speed and hence causing all these things. But I think that let's have a proper discussion about how we can avoid road accidents on our major roads. And so, Beatrice, this morning we wish the families well, we pray for the families, and then we wish them good strength, because I'm sure some people involved had told their family members they were going to town to make ends meet. Others were maybe going for other events and other occasions. But we wish the family well. We pray for them in these times of grief and sorrow. We pray that this never happens again. It's an uncomfortable development. It's personally, I am very, very, very heartbroken. And so my hearts and thoughts are with the family.
And I'm coming to you, Honorable Fatau, because really, this morning we gave data to our viewers regarding which vehicles are involved and the percentage of their involvement. And for trucks alone, we had about 77%. And yet, as a member of parliament, you are aware that we have the legislative instruments that really punish people for leaving cars on the road. If you leave a car between 30 minutes and 1 hour, you're supposed to face some punitive measures, including up to 12 months in prison. And yet we see these things happening, contributing to the carnage on our roads. I mean, what have you got to say about why we seem to have failed at implementing some of these things to at least help deal with the situation?
Well, thanks so much. Beatrice, once again, let me also start. You are even trying to, even if you want to wish the families, send your condolences to the family, you are even, the families don't even know whether they have people, because at this point it's just too early. They may not, the families of the deceased will not even have known that they have lost 1 or 2 people in this accident. But whatever it is, we send our condolences to the family. And those who have been injured, we pray for speedy recovery. You see, law enforcement, especially in respect of driving on our roads, is one area. You know, we have a number of factors that contribute to some of these things that we see. Key one, in fact, the research has shown that human behavior, the human error is the first factor, is the foremost contributor to road accidents in Ghana. And so people, if you can put, people are being very deliberately careless. They know that this is not what I'm supposed to do, but just so he or she gets where he or she is going within a very short period, they try to disregard some of the. So
let the MTTD officials get.
Which is why I come to the issue of the law enforcement. That was, you see, sometimes like Lom said, when you go to foreign countries or when you go abroad, it is not that people are not careless. People are careless. But the system is said that whatever you do, the system will get you. But you don't even need a human being to be standing at the traffic to get you. You just have to do your thing, and then by the time you see, you get a ticket that you did this. And you can't even challenge because there's video evidence. Here, we haven't actually perfected our system to such an extent that when you even catch someone. Let me give you one class example. Just 3 days ago, I drove past the airport traffic. And honestly, when association school, that traffic, so I was going straight. I drove past that place and I never saw the light being on. I never saw the light being on. So then before I realized, a policeman just rushed to the road in front of me and asked me to stop. It was so immediate, so I couldn't stop. So I moved past, then I went and parked by the side. Then I saw he also came with a motorbike. He came to me. Then he took me to the polo area and asked me to park, so I didn't mind. So I branched, I was going straight, but because he asked me to branch and park, I branched towards the polo area and parked. And he walked to me and said, when he walked to me, I was the first person who advised. I said, boss, the way you even came onto the road to stop me, it was careless because I just saw him in a flash. He was actually in the middle of the road stopping me. And I was like, but even if somebody has faulted, is that how to even conduct yourself? You don't come to the middle of the road. That's even risky. Assuming maybe I lost brake. You understand? That means you could have been a victim. So I told him that no, the way he rushed me, he said, but the red light were on. I said, no, the red light were not on. You know what ended it? He said, I should swear. That was how we resolved the issue. That was how we resolved the issue. And I swore that I never saw the. Can you believe this is how we settle issues? When I swore, the man took his motorbike and went back, and I also drove away. How do you resolve issues? How do you resolve the whole issue, an issue like this? Less than a week.
That traffic lights.
Yes, it was not on.
There's a problem.
So I don't know. I said no. I didn't see anything there.
Yeah.
I said, look, I'm not in a hurry. If the thing was red, I would have stopped because I'm just going home. I'm not rushing to anywhere. So I had to swear.
I don't fault you.
Yes.
I've had a serious issue there where I demanded to be taken to court immediately.
Exactly.
Because there's something about that light that
it just goes off,
that they refuse to fix.
Yes.
And they use it to victimize. There's something there.
So hopefully if the police administration is watching us and the roads, all the relevant stakeholders involved in our street lights, if they're watching, they should be able to do something about it. There's also a similar problem on the La Road just before the trade fair. Almost like once in a week, you find the traffic lights just not working. Exactly. The same thing around the Elwak traffic light as well. Sometimes it's red, but when it goes green, it's just dark, or the other way around. Yes, it's something that I've frequently observed that hopefully the relevant authorities would be watching and do something about it. But let me remind you that, like I did say earlier, we have my colleague Roland Walker currently around the accident area, or actually on his way to the place. As soon as we get the latest from there, we'll bring you all the live visuals and really what the situation is like currently on the ground as responders try to rescue more people, indeed, if they are, and also to see to the accident and ensure that at least a number of people are not inconvenienced already, who probably might have been inconvenienced because of the traffic redirection and the rest. But I want us to go straight into what I was telling you earlier about Sedina Tamaklo. And if you've been following the story, which is something that we've been bringing you updates on consistently, she came back to Ghana to serve her 10-year jail term. And shortly after, we had the breaking news about the Court of Appeal acquitting her, and of course that judgment, and of course the court also gave details, if you look at the judgment, on all the 78 counts, and eventually gave its conclusions regarding why, in the words of the court, this judgment, as it were, was excessive and harsh, and eventually acquitted her. But of course she was in the Insawan prisons, and yesterday we had that breaking story that she had been released, even as the Attorney General also withdrew that application earlier to prevent her release, but filed another one at the Supreme Court, awaiting, again, one that he filed earlier to challenge her acquittal at the Court of Appeal. With this latest development, we just want to look into the legal ramifications, as it were, of this. And I want to get your thoughts. I want to start with you, Lawyer Kwesi Botwe, looking at how the case has traveled and what we have now on our hands.
Thank you very much. I think you've given a very good background to the whole issues. I think that in the first place, the AG's decision to file an application for stay of execution was unwarranted because this is a person who stood trial, was convicted. Subsequently, we are told appealed, filed a notice of appeal sometime in April 2024 or sometime in 2024. Nothing was done. In 2025, the appeal was resurrected, and in 2026, she was acquitted and discharged by the court. I think that the application for stay of execution after the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged her was unnecessary. I think that it was only a response to the uproar and the dissatisfaction that were expressed by the rank and file of members of society, in the sense that people were not happy with what had transpired. People had the suspicion that the entire appeal process was shrouded, was not shrouded in a transparent manner. But what happened? I mean, we are being told that the appeal was filed on the 30th July, the very day that the stay of execution was filed, on the very day that she was acquitted and discharged. The following day, the court heard the application. The court adjourned the matter to 12th August, that's yesterday, to determine the application. 2 clear days before 12th August, the Attorney General filed a notice of withdrawal to withdraw the application for stay of execution. And so consequently, yesterday, the court struck out the application as withdrawn. And so my thinking is that if the Attorney General indeed was convinced that he was going to withdraw the matter, or he was not going to pursue this application to its logical conclusion, in the first place, why did he even file the application in the first place? What was the intendment? What was the purpose? Was it only to manage the anxiety and the concerns and the dissatisfaction of members of society? Was the application indeed intended to be pursued to its logical conclusion? Was it intended to deceive the good people of this country? I am struggling to appreciate the real reason behind the series of things that have happened. Because indeed, I was of the opinion that despite the fact that the application was filed on the 30th and on the 31st, the court heard the application. At least the AG would have allowed the Court of Appeal to deal with the application. But withdrawing the application 2 clear days before the date for determination raises reasonable suspicions that the entire application for stay of execution was a choreographed act intended to deceive the people of this country, to make it appear as though the government wasn't in support of the acquittal and discharge of Madam Sedinam Temakulu. Because if you have the Attorney General filing a process in court, that is the position of government, because the Attorney General by law is the principal legal advisor to the government, not the political advisor to the government, not the propaganda advisor to the government, the legal advisor to the government. And so if you have an Attorney General taking such a position to contest or to seek the stay of execution of the acquittal and discharge of Madam Sedinam Temaklo, it raises suspicion.
But you know, after he withdrew the one at the, which he filed at the Court of Appeal, he filed at the Supreme Court. And already when he indicated his intention to appeal, he said that in that statement that was released, that the Attorney General remains committed to the due process of law and is confident that the appeal before the Supreme Court will succeed. Doesn't that show an interest in seeing this to the end?
And so was the stay of execution filed at the Court of Appeal a wrong process of law? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. I am asking for the people, maybe Honorable, who is part of the government, will tell us the real reason behind the decision of the Attorney General to file an application for stay of execution and in less than 10 days decide to withdraw that very application, even before the application is heard. I do not know the reason, but the reason I have come to is that it was a choreographed act to deceive the people of this country, to make it look as if the government wasn't happy about the acquittal and discharge. But in actual fact, they are excited about it.
And then you also said that the reason the AG, you claimed, okay, so I will come back to that question. I understand that there's some news coming from the accident scene, and my colleague Roland Walker is there.
Other cars, there were cars parked here, and they crashed into them. And this quite unfortunate incident has happened.
So the way the situation is, it also means that perhaps the Assembly would need to do a post, maybe recce, and take a look at especially the cars that tend to break down on the roads and the heavy duty ones as well.
You see, we have the towing vehicles. If your car breaks down, it's easy for you to tow it. But the truck drivers and the taxi drivers stop people from here. You can see there's no barricade here. So they will just drop the people here, the people will cross the road. And nobody will find out. Nobody will find out that where you are dropping the person, there's a car coming. You will never know if the car is coming behind you. You see? So we are pleading with them. This place is not a bus stop. This place is not a place that you stop, drop passengers. So we are going to put no stopping here. And anybody that will catch here, make sure that the law will force the law on you. Because you cannot stop people within the curve. You can see the road is descending.
Yeah.
So if I'm driving from the top, I'm speeding up. And if I get here and you have parked the car here, how will I find out? How will I know? So it's quite unfortunate this has happened. But we'll put drastic measures in place.
What's the level of collaboration, especially with the various departments we have? So if it's the Ghana National Fire Service, the police service, so that you as city authorities, you are able to also better complement in the enforcement of road regulation?
Before I say anything, the fire service, the NATMO, the ambulance service, the police, they have done so well. If I got here when things were very muddy, and some of the things I've seen, I couldn't go very close. But this, because it's their work, they're able to pick up the remain of people, put them in ambulance, and so they have done so well. So what we are saying is that right now, as we spoke, we must commend the fire service, the police, the NADMO, the ambulance, they have done so well to make sure. But what we are doing now is to try and wash the road so that the debris and the things out on the streets, so the cars can have their way.
Okay. AMA Chief Executive Michael Pakpo Alote, or is it Alote Pakpo?
Pakpo Alote.
Pakpo Alote. Happy Homo.
Thank you.
Okay, as well. But it's also important that we put things into perspective. So we have Alex Kinate, ADO 1. It's very important, of the Public Relations Directorate for the Ghana National Fire Service. They've been here so far. You take a look. I'll just do a brief description for you. You'll find that a number of food items are on the ground, and you'll find all these fruits apparently being transported, and then subsequently on the median, on the median, you also find that we have the mangled vehicles as well, and all these parts of the vehicles that were also involved very much as part of this accident. Again, the reconnaissance being undertaken based on the emergency responses by the Ghana National Fire Service. And Alex, you can say that just so these are the blood stains.
These are blood stains. As you can see, these are the parts of the mangled vehicle. These are all blood stains. The blood was all over here, so we had to wash it. And so as you can see, we are using our foam concentrate. The debris, if left on the road, can cause another accident, because obviously if a car is speeding and it passes over some of these debris, it can even deflate the tire, thereby forcing it to skid off and other vehicles can run into it. And so that's what we are doing. We are washing away so all this place, we had people lying over here. We used at the time when we brought out their bodies. We didn't have, at the time we brought out their bodies, we had to use the plantain leaves to cover them, unfortunately, because people were passing, and everyone passing with their car had their phone. Everyone passing with their car had their phones out. So this is one of the vehicles. So as you can see, it was a multi-vehicle, about 7 vehicles involved. So we have 2 saloon cars. There's this car. There's another Uber car at the back. So you see the orange Uber car. The tricycle over there also was involved. The tipper truck. There were 2 tipper trucks. There were 2 tipper trucks involved. And so as it stands right now, we are doing our best to clear the debris and make sure that there's no further damage to any vehicle coming in. So per our job as Ghana National Fire Service, what we do when we get to a scene is, 1, we make sure that if there are people alive, we rescue them. If people are dead, we retrieve their bodies and hand them over to the police. And then thirdly, we make sure that we clear any debris. And also, because it was a vehicle, there will be oil spillage all over the road, and if the cars are speeding, they can skid off.
Causing slippages and friction.
Exactly. So those are all important.
Edu Alex Nati, it's very important, just in case you're watching us, from the accident scene live right here on the Accra Kumasi stretch. And so if you're moving from Accra, you get to Ofanko, just close to the Jonte area, and on the main highway, when you're going, that's when the incident did happen. So for those who were coming from Amasama, Jonte, etc., you would directly meet the accident. So those who are coming into town, traffic is going to put you in a very difficult situation. I don't know whether there are other diversions that have been created. We'll speak to the police and get the first-hand information. But you would say that this was caused by what, based on what you have observed so far? Take us to the beginning.
Well, we're having different accounts. Obviously, everyone is saying something different. But the bottom line is that there was a vehicle. There were some vehicles parked here, and the Sprinter bus might have tried to apply the brakes to avoid running into it. And so, in the process of applying the brake, accidentally the tipper truck ran into it. So that's the preliminary findings until we and the police MTTD conduct further investigation to ascertain the real cause.
How many vehicles are involved in this?
So including the tricycle over there, we have about 7. So including the tricycle over there, 7 vehicles were involved in the accident. And so there were these 2. So this car and then the orange, if you can look ahead, you see that there's an orange Uber vehicle there. There were 2 Sprinter buses, there were 2 tipper trucks, and then the tricycle, making 7.
All right. So in all total numbers, we're talking tricycles, how many numbers?
So tricycle, 1 tricycle,
1 tricycle,
2 saloon vehicles,
2 saloon,
2 tipper trucks, and then 2 Sprinter buses.
Okay. So the tricycle, was it carrying waste or what?
No, it was carrying, the tricycle was, it's an empty tricycle. I'm sure maybe it was now going, I'm sure, let's move this way, the washing is still ongoing. So as you can see, we are still trying to wash. So this side has been washed. You can see that this side has been washed clean. So let's come this way so that they clear this side also. So this side has been washed clean. So we are now going to wash this side also. So the tipper truck were fully loaded. So you can imagine the kind of descending on top speed with the kind of load that it was carrying. So that is why we experienced the kind of collision. That's why we experienced the kind of collision that we did. And so we are doing our best. We are doing our best. With the Ghana National Fire Service, our job here is almost done. We've done about 80% of the job. What is left is this, and then hopefully we'll open the road to traffic.
Okay, just to apprise ourselves of what the latest numbers are, on television live earlier, you mentioned that you had observed 10 mutilated bodies, and so you can confirm those victims, they are dead. Others also were injured, have been taken to the hospital. And so what's the fatality count now?
So the fatality count for now, it still remains around 10. And almost a lot of the fatality was from the mangled sprinter bus over there. You can, I'm sure a lot of them were even market women who were going to the market to go about their regular
part of the morning.
Exactly. And so there were a lot of elderly women. There was one young lady, I'm sure she should be around 15, she shouldn't be up to more than 20 years. Unfortunately, both her legs were severed off. There was another man, an elderly man, whose hand was, cut off. It's
quite horrid.
Very horrid.
And then not a very good sight to see.
Very unfortunate.
Where have the injured been taken to? Which hospital, if you know?
So I'm sure, especially the very severely injured would have been taken to 37. Because looking at the extent of injury, it's not an injury that you can easily a
trauma.
Yes, a trauma. Because looking at the girl who probably lost both legs, that's not something that any hospital can take charge of. So we would be doing our follow-ups, but I'm sure they were taken to 37 and then other specialized referral hospitals.
All right, so you're still wrapping up here. So what the Ghana National Fire Service is doing currently, just stay here with me, and then so what they are doing currently, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, when the incident took place, they quickly mobilized themselves onto the epicenter, the incident ground. What they did do was to make sure that they were able to, alongside other personnel, including personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service and then also the Ghana Police Service, MTTD, to find their implement to be able to cut into the mangled vehicles. And so you find that just at the front edges, you find the mangled vehicle in there. And then also, if you go right ahead, like if the camera pans. So if you find that the personnel currently have been able to put together a number of logistics. So there's a tow truck that's available to be able to tow this mangled vehicle, because this one ran into another vehicle and then was hit behind, and so they ran into the vehicle. So a tow truck is ready to be able to pick them. And so, okay, so then you also then will have officials of the Ghana National Fire Service who then have mobilized their fire tenders but as well as other vehicles to be able to help in the mobilization. What is being done is to make sure that they are able to wash the debris on the road. It's very important, according to the Ghana National Fire Service, because the debris could also lead to tire punctures, etc. if they are not in a position to be able to take them off the road, just in case they are able to bring some normalization or stability on the road. Now, alongside also, they've been able to cordon off other witnesses or those bystanders who are close to the precinct of the accident center, just to make sure that they don't encroach into the area where the emergency services are being undertaken. And so the personnel will finish off. They are going to take all the mangled or the remains, so to speak, of the accident vehicles, and then they will then clear the road. So far, we're told that around 10, so the numbers again are around 10 to 12, but the Ghana National Fire Service officially is staying at the number 10 of those who have died in this morning accident. Then we have more that have gotten themselves injured as a result of that. We're told of tales where we have a severed of two legs of one of the victims, so to speak, and it's not an exciting sight as it is. And so what they've done is to be able to cordon off the bystanders and the witnesses who are willing to take a watch, they make sure that you don't interfere with the rescue operations. And ADO Alex Nati of the Ghana National Fire Service also working closely in terms of the fire service and the police MTTD to bring some normalcy to this. Now, for the mop-up emergency activities, what would they involve? What's the procedure? What's the standard operating procedure for you?
Okay, so as it stands right now, looking at it, it's an interagency collaboration between the police and the ambulance service. And so as it stands now, we are trying to clear the road. All this road was very much choked with a lot of the mangled vehicle. We've cleared all that from here. Per our standard operating procedure, we as a service, we are clearing the road. We'll then do our assessment that, okay, fine, looking at it, we've cleared the road, it's good. We'll talk to the police. Okay, so the police, how do you think we should now go about being able to ease the traffic? Should we open one lane? Should we open two lanes? And so we consult with them. The ambulance are done with their work. All those who were rescued, who were not dead, we gave them to the ambulance service. And so primarily it's now left to do and the police. We are doing our part. So once we are done, we'll then collaborate with the police. And then together, if we open one lane first, we open one lane and allow them to pass. And then per assessment, if we see that they are not really obstructing or there might be more room for cars to pass, we might open the two lanes so that we'll be able, because they've been in traffic for well over almost 2 hours. And so it's not fair to them. Obviously, there'll be people who will be trying to catch a flight and they'll be trapped in this traffic. And so,
have you been in collaboration with the police able to find some road diversions for oncoming commuters? Because it's early morning rush hour, people will need to get to work. We're already seeing the traffic piling up on our already congested road. This road is notoriously a traffic-prone area when it comes to the early morning rush hour.
Yeah, so the coordination at the beginning was a bit was not too good at the beginning because we're all here trying to make sure that we help get people out. So as and when we're able to get the people out, we now had to make sure that the diversion was done way back at the Pokwase Bridge, where people who are now coming towards the main road were now being directed to use the outer lane. And so unfortunately those who got here, I guess it's unfortunate for them. They are stuck. Those who got here, they are stuck here. And so you realize that even through this side, there are people using this other side to get to the Fankor roundabout. And so a few diversions, some people can also use the Amomole stretch to get through to Ofankor. So we are coming up with some alternative routes for them so that at least to be able to ease the stress of the congestion.
All right. ADO1, Alex Kenati, one of the best PR ambassadors for the Ghana National Police Service. Well, he's a trained communication person, so he's able to do that. But okay, so now we have the lead PRO for the Ghana National Fire Service, and okay, you're one, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm
fine. I see your man has been doing some great work. Yes. He started the live update, and then we're also able to catch on with the update as well. For you, I will ask you the big ticket questions because of your representation and the office that you hold. For the Ghana National Fire Service, would you say you're worried where we have incidents and people encroach, there's fire, etc.? What's your own concern generally about that?
Yeah, it's true. We are the service itself is worried that when there's an incident, we should allow the professionals to come and deal with the incident. Because let's say if there's fire, there could be explosions within the fire. And those explosions, I think the citizenry is not covered by any law or any insurance that they might be injured in the process. So when there's an incident, the citizens are not allowed to come to the incident scene or to get closer to the incident scene. And mostly, they should listen to the professional, i.e. the Ghana National Fire Service, the police, the National Ambulance, to tell them where to stand and look at the incident as we are dealing with the issues.
Okay. And then the next one is that we notice that each time there's an incident, your response has improved dramatically. What measures did you put in place, or have you put in place, to make sure that you are able to meet the response times? And this is commendation to you as well.
Yeah, well, we are grateful for this great observation. However,
because many of the times you come under the flag from the media.
Yes, normally it is we give all glory to God Almighty, the chief officer, the government, and our team, our fire officers, for their swift response, and the public. Hitherto, when the thing happened, they tried to solve it on their own. When they couldn't solve it, it's then that they call fire service. By the time fire service get to the place, the thing will be escalated. However, now, when immediately they see the thing, whether they can deal with it or not, they will call the Ghana National Fire Service. So we are able to get to the incident scene very early and deal with the situation.
Okay, do you have emergency numbers? Alex is #1 ambassador for you. He's able to always be on Facebook and some of this one. But what usually are the emergency response numbers, just in case the public want also to have some relationship and call during times of emergency?
We have 112 for the main emergency, that call center. It goes to the call center, and it is being routed to the Ghana National Fire Service or the police service or the National Ambulance Service. Then we have the 192 for the Ghana National Fire Service.
All right. DO Bonnie.
Yes.
Or DO1?
Bonnie.
Okay. Sorry for reducing your position. No. So DO1 Bonnie. Yeah, so we'll speak to a number, including the assemblyman for the area. But it's also important, Honorable, I'll be with you. So we need to do a bit of description, and the camera lenses will just take it. So this is one of the vehicles that were involved in the accident. This, I believe, is a Toyota Camry, circa 2006, 7, 8, 9, and then up to, I believe, 9, 10, thereabouts. And so this was hit, so a vehicle ran into this car behind it. So as a result of that, it's mangled on the left rear, and it also means that some rescue effort needed to be done. Okay, so I'm told that it's swerving. So we'll go to the because it was swerving. Okay. So this vehicle was coming, and then it saw it coming, and subsequently they have a towing vehicle that is going to be there. You witnessed this as well?
No, I didn't witness actually. It was that guy there who gave me the. He was here. He saw everything. Who? The guy in black. Okay. Yeah.
The fair guy.
Yeah, the fair guy.
Okay, I'll call him.
Yeah.
Please call the fair guy for me.
Because what he said was, this police vehicle, there's a police vehicle here. Bruh, come.
Who? The guy coming?
The guy in black.
Okay, the guy in black. Okay, and the guy with the earpiece.
Yeah.
Also, nitimu boom. Okay, Assemblyman. So, what's your name?
I'm Honorable Dennis Daniel Kwashi.
Dennis Daniel Kwashi. The Honorable Dennis Daniel Kwashi. And your area is called?
Ofankor South Electoral Area.
Ofankor South Electoral Area. And at what time were you called that this accident happened?
I heard around 5:30. So I have to rush here. So when I came, in fact, the whole place was very bad, and the dead bodies were being taken away. So I met one of the eyewitness. So he narrated a story to me. He told me that there's a boboya which was knocked down by a Toyota driver. So the driver did not stop and went away. So the boboya, the driver died on the spot. So the police van came and met the dead body. So the police van, the white van that is parked there. So it's only one police officer in the car. So he parked and started stopping the car to direct the traffic. So when he parked, he says there is another tipper truck driver who did not know what is happening. So when he saw the policeman stop him, so he stopped. Then there's some cars behind, an other passenger car behind. So he did not know that the truck has passed. So he came and hit the truck. Yes, he came and hit the truck. Then there's another third car who did not know that there is an accident. So he also came and hit the passenger car. So the passenger car got cramped in the middle. In the passenger car, that is where the passengers were. About 15 passengers were in that van. So I can tell you, almost all lives gone in that very van, in the van, because it was in the middle. So it was a total crash. And there's another 4 passenger car who did not even see. So he also came and hit, and about 2 people died in that car too. So, you know, if you look at the way, the speed when they are descending, they came with speed. And this accidents are becoming here. Almost every month there will be an accident.
Almost every month.
Almost every
you as an assembly member, you can report that you get reports.
Exactly. Almost every month, here and here, almost accidents happen. So we're even contemplating whether there should be a ramp or something to slow down
on the highway.
On the highway, if possible.
Oh, boss.
Because when they are descending, the speed that they descend, even if there's no ramp and there's something to slow down the speed, it will help. Because both the inner lane and the outer lane, almost every month there will be an accident. So that's the situation we are in. And those who died, most of them are market women. They are from market. You see their oranges and the red, most of them.
So they went to the farm centers or the production centers, and they are bringing goods to market centers in mainstream Accra. And so just to give you a vivid description of what route we're talking about, we are on the route that heads towards Accra. And so if you're from Amasaman, you come towards the Jonte area. From Pokwasi, you come to the Jonte area, then you ascend and then descend into this area, and it's where the main problem is. And the member of the assembly member, I wanted to say member of parliament. Maybe you have an aspiration.
Sure.
It's a sure. And so at the end of the day, your caution is very important, and we've already seen that. Just to hold you, the Ghana Police Service, they've brought another tow truck just to make sure that they are able to carry the mangled remains of the vehicles that got involved in the accident. And I have to say that it's not only the Ghana National Fire Service, the combined effort of the Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, the National Ambulance Service, NADMO, the assemblies themselves. And then you can even find that even members of normal supporting political parties. So there's Dr. Mahmoud Bamian supporter also here, and everybody else, because they are good neighbors, they want to make sure the right things are done as well, and everybody else involved, just to make sure that lives are protected and not destroyed further based on the initial. And Honorable Kwashi, I got the information from the fire service and the police that the numbers of the dead officially they want to maintain is 10, but we are also getting information that others look like they were dead, but I'm so unconscious, and then they were mutilated. That should be a big problem, especially for your area, and knowing that this is an accident-prone area.
Yeah, you know, this place is a highway project, so we are pleading on the Ghana Highway Authority. They should come and look at the construction of the road, because it's very pathetic that a new road constructed, every month there will be an accident. So Ghana Highway should come and relook at the road if there's something to be done, because there are lands, there are space around. So if something to be done, they should rule out so that these monthly accidents should stop.
All right. Since you are the assemblyman for the area, I'll give you the title holder for directing traffic today. Okay. Which other road diversions, for those who are watching us live on TV3, etc., which traffic diversions can their oncoming cars, as well as those who are commuting from that end of town to Accra, take?
When they are coming from Pokwasi, when they get to White House, there is a road at the right-hand side. They should pass through that road to Lake Poultry Farm Road to Atamo Junction, then you get to Fanko, Sportem, and you move to Accra.
All right. I think this one, you petition the assembly, or you raise this issue at the assembly, right?
Sure, we have raised this issue before. But as you know, this is a Ghana Highway Authority project. So whatever, you have to write to Ghana Highway for them, because the assembly cannot do anything on this road.
Because your bylaws don't allow you to.
Sure, yeah.
All right. The Honorable Question.
Thank you very much, Relat.
All the best for the day. And so,
you can see it. Just look at
the
it.
flesh.
The flesh.
Yeah,
around
so,
the
yeah, because of the nature, we
yeah,
cannot show
we
that.
Cannot show that. Okay, okay.
But it doesn't look. What's your name?
My name is Prince Folinado.
It doesn't look like a good side as well. So in the early mornings, usually what's your own concern about the rush and then the high speed of oncoming vehicles from this end, from the Pukwasi end or the Jonte end to this place?
I would say for now, this place in the past when they haven't done this road, there's a lot of accident here. When you hear the car sounding the alarm, the siren, ping, then you must know that there's an accident, so you have to run away from the barrier. But now when they done this, it has slowed it a bit. Recently, just less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there's one voice, white one voice. It just somersault around this place. It's somersault around this place.
Somersaulted?
Yeah, and it got spoiled. Because the whole place here is down. So when they reach here, the speed is small here. So we are pleading to the authority that they should come and look at the way they will do it. If they will put some speed ramp on the top there, that will slow them down before they come here. It will be good. I'm a driver. I've been using a big cars. But at times also, this also help the big trailers. Because of the ramp there, when they are coming, you have to get some speed to climb the hill. So for the big cars, it's okay for them. But the speed is too high. The speed is too high. Especially when they reach around that corner there for descending, it's too much. So we are pleading with the drivers, they should exercise cautions for the way they do their thing, the way they drive. They should slow down.
There are something I was...
Recently, one of tankers failed brake and he have broke this thing, camera. The camera, the CCTV camera that they have put around the roundabout here, it broke it. One of the trailers. So later on, they can't carry it away. You can go and verify it. It's there. You have broke the CCTV camera around the roundabout there. So we are pleading to the government. They should look at second phase to see what we can do to help this.
For safety purposes.
For safety purposes.
Mr. Foley, thank you so much.
This has been long. This has been long. This thing has been long. We are pleading. Thank you.
Honorable. Oh, you are done. Okay, so just to take you again before we go back to the studio. So the authorities and the combined effort of the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, the National Ambulance Service, NADMO, as well as the various metropolitan assemblies have been able to make sure that we're able to get this under control. And one of the leading figures who was able to rush here as quickly as possible is the Accra Mayor, Michael Kpakpo Alote. And you take a look at the debris that's here, doesn't look good. He also had collaboration with the National Fire Service and the rest of the personnel who were here to be able to make sure that he got everybody else to do what was right alongside their normal standard operating procedures. But the Accra Mayor is here. Accra Mayor, if there's any caution you will give, what is it, and then what do you want to add to the conversation?
I think the information we're having so far is that, there was the sprinter buses were 3. So now they've rushed 13 people into the hospital. We lost one more person, so now there's 11.
11.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're told that many of these dead or the deceased or those who lost their lives in this and the affected, many of them were carrying food items from and then to main Accra. And that should be a concern to everybody else, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but you see, it's quite unfortunate. Sometimes things like this, nobody sees coming. But when things happen like this, we take the opportunity to put drastic measures in place that this will not happen anymore.
Okay, and one of your assembly members was saying there has to be a relook about the structure of the highway, but even though I said it was a highway as well, would you discuss that at the assembly and then scale it up to the Ghana Highway Authority?
I think we need to stop people from parking cars here. That's a major challenge. We need to put no stopping, no parking. I think this is around this stretch, because if the road is clear and you are speeding up, there is nothing to...
Why don't you put a permanent tow truck or assign them so that if somebody parks, then you tow?
We are going to look at that.
We'll look at that. Yes,
we'll look at that.
Okay. So the Mayor of Accra, that's the Chief Executive for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Michael Kpakpo Alote, is the last person who spoke to us. We spoke to a number of eyewitnesses as well, and the incident doesn't look good. We're told that 11 people have so far died from an accident that was first reported some 2 hours ago, and subsequently we had the National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, as well as other personnel who were able to mobilize here as quickly as possible, and they were able to look at some of the emergencies and the responses that could be had. And for many of them, they always say that one of the lead eyewitnesses was there. So this gentleman is credited as having first-hand.
He said he doesn't want to.
Okay. So he doesn't want to show his face. So that'll be it. But ubet me, yes, na Oshe Yamano AC no first no. A dear pots in the sea. What can you tell us?
The ICN is a Yawa Yawa station one, and a etic ban, and a ban, and I will say,
What's the young bang?
Etic ban, and I will say, Yaban, and I will say, Moto Boboyano, and I will say, Boboyano, I done say, now on the Suko say, and I done say. Adani say no na nipa no free eto moto no so na order form anu on kika ne ho wewu ye ne ho hwa enye ye na we hu say police car bi ba ani car we sa police car we ni nyama na hwe gu kwan no mu no nti police car no ba no onu park si baby a red car ni si no onu park si ho na oso sare ni sisu say the car bi ba na nti police no kama mi boa no na peja boto ni bi e di sisi kwan no say the cars no be fa atale no nti trailer no ni baby a trailer no free speeder no dey police car no mu free slow na e be to ha police car no mu free slow na e be to na another tipper bi su ba tipper no dey automatic brakes a be gina ha asa na totro white one bi e dey be tipper no chi ni passenger side no bo tipper no chi e na onu su sama so ti koto e horumu asa na black one no su e be tipper no chi tipper no chi no na another tipper su e be black one atali yellow tipper no na atali ni say pa asa na ada cars no su toto su private
abubo wo mechi
mechi sa toto so bi mo fufo pavement ni na there
o hwe cars ahen kra na e affected
cars na mo affected ni there sprinter no 2 sprinter no 2 na yi sa wo ba for car yi na Camry bi su ni
all right, yeah, that's why. Okay, so that'll be it for now. We have to go back to the studio and continue the conversations thereof, but we're still monitoring the situation right here. It looks like all is wrapped up. We're told that 11 people confirmed so far, but we still have a lot of injured people at the hospital. And the combined effort of the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service as well, the National Ambulance Service, they've already carted or transported the injured to the hospital, and the police who also apparently have one of their vehicles affected while that vehicle was on the way to work or from patrol, have already brought in a tow truck to make sure that they are able to tow their vehicle away. But other vehicles also have been affected. We've already communicated the routes that you need to take, but the accident scene and the clearances are being undertaken by the National Fire Service, NADMO, as well as the Accra Metropolitan Assembly officials right here. We'll go back to the studio.
Very much. Roland Walker bringing us all we need to know, speaking to the relevant people. Unfortunately, the death toll, as we heard earlier, has increased from 10 to 11. And you also heard the number of people who have been rushed to the hospital. You can be sure that we'll bring you all the updates. Stay with TV3 in the course of the day, and we'll bring you all that you need to know. But I want us to return to our conversation earlier about the acquittal and all of that. But I know that before that, there's so much that we heard that you would want to just give your preliminary thought on. And you were on the floor before we went on that break. So I would give you that first opportunity.
This report by Roland just gave me chills. I mean, I feel my skin is actually crawling. I am broken. You see, nobody leaves home with the expectation of not coming back home. And behind the scenes, we see real mothers, real fathers, real breadwinners, real hope of families, I am very, very broken. And if what broke my heart is the fact that it was plantain leaves that were used to cover the remains of our dear friends, brothers, sisters, and parents. And what breaks my heart the more is the fact that when you hear the whole story, I mean, it looks as if the whole thing was caused by an aboboya. My goodness. And these aboboya are still on our major roads. I use the Accra-Kaswa road often. They are always on the road, and sometimes they actually take the entire 3 lanes of the road. I think that we really need to look at these aboboya systems on our major roads. I'm not saying aboboya is not good. I am aware people also use it for, short distances. But we should try as much as possible to ban these aboboya tricycles from our main roads, because 11 people have lost their lives as a result of no fault of theirs. They are just going to work to make ends meet, and their family people will realize that their mothers, their fathers have lost their lives through road accident. This can happen to anybody.
But you're a lawyer. I'm sure you know, as far back as to 2021, the then Accra Mayor Henry Corte said that we should ban aboboya on our major roads from the 1st of November.
He expressed this opinion, but the power doesn't lie within a minister's hand to ban it. I'm sure Parliament would have to pass an LI, regulating these tricycles and these motor vehicles. And so I am shattered. In fact, I am so goosebumped to the extent that I don't think that I can even continue with the discussion on Sedinam Temaklu, because at least she has her liberties now. At least she has been able to secure her liberties through a very well orchestrated, choreographed, planned, process. And so she's at home by now. I'm sure she's watching this scene. Beatrice, what more can I say? What more can I say? I am very terrified by what I've just seen. And I think that I am dedicating the rest of my time to sympathize with the families. I would not speak on somebody whose political party and government of the day has mastered a choreographed act to, just deceive the people of this country that they are so much opposed to her acquittal and
but you're talking as if you haven't read the judgment and the reasons attributed to her acquittal.
I'm not talking about the details of the issues here. I'm not talking about the judgment here. I'm talking about how I feel about the road accident and connecting it to how a government has choreographed everything to get to this point. And so, Beatrice, I would land here so colleagues can also have their bite. But I just feel scandalized by what I've just seen. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And it is not a joke. You see, it's not a joke, because from the scenes you realize that these are market women who maybe are
from the everyday Ghanaian.
Are from Ade. So because these oranges and the things we see, usually they get them from Ade, so parts of Insawom, and then transport them to the markets. And so these are breadwinners of families. They have left home around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. just to lose their lives for quote-unquote shaggy reasons. Because what we are witnessing is not proper. And to the AMA mayor, it looks as if he has all the solutions, saying that the solution now is to ensure that people do not park there. Whose job is it to ensure that people do not park there? Why is he telling us that he's going to ensure that people do not park there? I think that when these things happen, people have to be held accountable. It cannot be business as usual. Because if today, President Mahama should fire this mayor for not ensuring that people were not parking on the highway, I'm sure it will serve as a deterrent to other mayors across the country.
Is that what you're calling for?
For them to ensure that, I'm just saying, for them to ensure that people do not park alongside highways. And so, Beatrice, our land here, it's an unfortunate scene. It's a sad scene. To lose 11 people by 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning is a terrifying scene. I think that leading members of government should visit the scene, should visit the families to like Honorable said, right now we do not even know the families. We do not know those involved. Because if you listen to the report by the ambulance PRO, the man you recommended, he tells us that the
Alex Kenati, he is with the National Fire Service.
National Fire Service. He tells us that the bodies were, torn apart. And so I don't know if they would be able to recognize the real victims and even piece the bodies together to give them a befitting burial. But this is, in fact, I am very emotional right now. This is very sad. It's very sad.
Honorable, I want to come to you briefly again before I come to the rest of the panel. Having listened to the fire service, we had Mr. Kenati tell us that when they retrieved those bodies, they put plantain leaves on them. How does that tell you of the level of equipping, as it were, of the Ghana National Fire Service, having been called to attend to such a major accident scene?
Well, it just, to us, we know how our institutions function and how poorly equipped they are as a country. It's unfortunate that we only come to this realization when things of this sort happened. But look, let's not play the ostrich here. But sometimes when you look at these institutions and what they get, as in terms of the support they get from government, you find ministries giving these allocations, but the institutions that run these ministries themselves, you don't find them getting their due share. The ministry will be getting their allocation, but the very agencies that should do the work, you don't find them being given what they deserve. And so, at this point, it shouldn't come to this level. But if it's something that happened somewhere in the bush and you have that situation, you can say, but this is at the heart of our capital city, that they are using leaves to cover such victims. So it should tell you that things are bad even from the center. So it means that there's no such equipment or no such facilities available to the Ghana National Fire Service. And I think we should begin to look at these agencies and appreciate the work they do. Sometimes even the way you treat the dead body. In fact, as a society, when you watch certain things, and you see how societies treat even animals, birds, then you know that this is a very responsible society. If you can even treat animals this way, if you can treat a dead body this way, it means that you have just lost it as a society. And so we shouldn't say, oh, these people, they are gone. And so there's no need even investing in how we handle them, how we treat them, and those things. No. So, Beatrice, it just brings out the very issues we have, the poor nature of the agencies that we have running the affairs of the country. And as a politician, I think I should be burying my head in shame that sometimes, not that the ministry in charge of this sector will not have the budget allocation that is due them, but they will get. But the very agencies that are supposed to do the work, the money don't get to them. But they work under very tight situations. The road has been open to traffic.
Beyond the issue about being sad is also the issue of accountability. How do we hold people accountable for what they were supposed to have done to prevent such a thing?
You see, if we go that late, a lot of, because like Bocho even said, the issue of parking, the illegitimate or if you like irresponsible parking on our route, the issue of who checks what driver. You can even, if you do your checks, it's not surprising to see that some of the drivers will not even be licensed to be on our routes. You understand? And sometimes even the procedure in getting the license, you know it. You sit at home and you can get whatever license you want. So almost every aspect of us, if you are going to do this, trust me, you go and you have to find out even advice.
But can't we start from somewhere holding people accountable?
No,
because
it has to start.
In other places, if I were supposed to put certain memeasures in place and I didn't and something bad happened, I wouldn't even have to wait to be sacked. I would resign.
But we've seen even ministers, even prime ministers resigning over petty things. This is the highest form of public service that you have. But here, the way we run our things is quite disappointing. But I think the axe must fall. We should begin to crack the whip in some of these situations. But some of the agencies, sometimes before you crack the whip, you must ask yourself, have you provided the necessary support that agency also needs? You understand? And so the agency even that is supposed to provide the support, it should be held responsible for not doing what it's doing. And then those who are supposed to check drivers, check vehicles, some of these vehicles, for they don't even have proper roadworthy certificates. And even the roadworthy, you don't take your vehicle anywhere to get roadworthy. They don't see your vehicle, but they give it, they certify it. So.
I want to come back to you, Lawyer Elijah, the bit about the need for us to put in the necessary preventive measures these are 11 lives which have been lost. And the others who have been injured, for the young girl who will have to live with this permanent injury for the rest of her life.
Absolutely, and it's so sad to see because, as you said, you've done a report on this. You mentioned, but it seems nothing changed. Or they say the more things change, the more they remain the same. Essentially, we have the same conversations every few weeks, and then we move on with life. As you can see from the images, they've already opened the road. So, of course, I know that they had to quickly intervene, do what they needed to do to clear the place and ease the congestion. But trust me, there's also an investigative element that is in there, which means that the police need to be able to unravel the cause of the accident, to be able to trace what happened and see how to, in fact, even inform or advise the public in what to do and so on. And I hope that was done before, all of the debris was cleared and the evidence washed away and all that, because at the end of the day, there are legal implications for some of these things. But I want to touch on another aspect of it, which perhaps is related, but maybe didn't come out directly as a result of this accident. And I've written on this a few times and published in various media. To start with, our highways in this country pass through towns. In any civilized country in the world, that doesn't happen. It's not the case. You have highways and you basically exit into communities. So there's nothing by the highway. This route is part of the Accra-Kumasi highway, I believe, which is N4? They have names for, yes, we have names for all our highways.
And N4. I'm learning that apparently the entire stretch doesn't have any street lights functioning.
Good. So you have a major highway from the southern part of Ghana going through the middle belt, and obviously ultimately all the way to Tamale and beyond, because I know that N4 is the major highway that connects the south all the way to the north. The truth is that in most societies, highways like this will not even be in a community to start with. The sides of the highways will have no residents, no living quarters and things like that. And I'm saying this because we from the various accounts, it says that this was triggered by an aboboya that kind of somersaulted. That's what I'm talking about, the investigative aspect of it. Why did they somersault? Was there, for example, were there pedestrians crossing that the driver needed to avoid or swerve or what have you, or there's debris or something in the road and so on? And these are things that should not happen. Once you have highways going through communities, you see that it exponentially increases the likelihood of accidents and so on. It doesn't mean that outside in other places they don't have accidents on highways where there are nobody by the road, but it just adds significantly to the kind of repercussions that you have. We are even now talking about the speed that the people come down the entire like the overpass with. We should consider rumble strips, all of those. Typically on a highway, you don't do any of those things. When you drive on any of our highways, whether it's N1 or N4, you see that at major parts where there's a lot of population, you've had to do speed ramps. Speed ramps should not be on highways under any circumstance. But what has happened is that right from the get-go, we missed it by allowing these highways to go through populated areas. They should not be in populated areas under any circumstance. What you have is a major highway with exits. So in a place like this, you exit to the town. The town should be away from the highway. And that's how it is everywhere. So I've really written on this in respect to the big push, advising the roads minister to ensure that for parts of the big push projects where there are no developments, they should preserve the highways and not allow developments to come through, because we need to unravel what triggered that Abuboya to have, you know, somersaulted, which led to all these things, as the eyewitnesses have said, and all of that. So for me, it's a really sad day for Ghana to lose about 11 people just this morning, and several others still in critical condition in hospital. We don't know what the outcome will be from those people, and we hope that our medical professionals and all those who are responsible for their care and so on will give it the full attention that they deserve, so that we can at least preserve the lives of the rest of those who have not passed away already, and learn from this experience to do better with our road management.
And there's a message, I'll come to you very shortly, lawyer. There's a message coming in from our presidential correspondent, Komla Kluche, who says that per the report he has, the entire stretch has no street light. And the Greater Accra Regional Minister, so asking question why Lindo Klu is still in office when this has not been fixed, and claiming that the accident predominantly was caused by no street lights in that area. There's also a message coming in from the Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Intelligence Center, Kwejo Chumbuafo, who says, "Good morning, Beatrice. Watching those gory scenes on morning TV is just heartbreaking. I have a simple question. What has happened to the crash barriers that are purposely installed on the medians to prevent rollovers from the opposite sides of the roads?" The answer is that those crash barriers have been stolen and turned into trinkets, saucepans and coal pots. That's the topical issue that we should be asking. No one can prevent accidents 100%, but roads are designed with casualty mitigation in mind.
Absolutely.
How has such a practice gone unchecked throughout the years? And obviously, the authorities who are supposed to be looking at our roads, the Highway Authority, the Road Safety Authority, and all of those involved should be perhaps helping us to answer these questions, the Roads Ministry as well.
Absolutely.
Lawyer, what are your further thoughts on what we've brought us so far?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be done. And as you spoke of the highways and these things that have to be on the road to prevent these things, where I live, there's a particular traffic light. I've lived in that area for about 13 years. We've reported over and over again, and that traffic light still doesn't work. You see, when you are going straight, the red, gold, green, it works. But when you are turning left, it hasn't worked for 13 years. So
what?
Yes. So you know that when it turns red over there, that's EcoBank traffic light at Bachona, Spintex.
Oh, okay.
When it turns red, then you know that those going left, even though it doesn't work, you assume it's green for you. So we've all become used to it. These things have to be checked. And Honorable said something I want to latch on, the licensing regime. Because from what the eyewitness said, he said a tipper truck came and hit the police. And I want to commend the police for what they did, putting on the lights and all that. How come whoever was driving the tipper truck or whatever didn't see those lights and ran into it? Probably that person was sleeping. And what business do you have driving a tipper truck at 4 a.m.? You see, we need to look at our licensing regime. Probably that person didn't even have a license or got a license. There are people who say that those who went to driving school are not good drivers, so they insist on learning driving elsewhere. We should come to the stage where, aside even having your license, there should be a way to check that you have been to driving school and you are capable of driving. We also have applying sanctions. What has happened here? We have to check the speed that the various cars were driving. We're a country where we are compassionate, we are emotional, but when it comes to these things, we have to be stoic. I appreciate the fact that Ghanaians, we are brotherly and all that, but we have to put feelings aside. Investigate right from the Abuboya to all the cars, the drivers. Why were they driving at a certain speed at that time of day? Because I know that Ali is on a Tamamoto with the speed limit is 100. I assume maybe over here too, it may be the same. Some of the cars shouldn't have been there at that time of the day. So we need to look at these things. The licensing regime, the road conditions, street lights, traffic lights, rumble strips, and we also have to look at applying sanctions. All those who were complicit in this, including those who should have ensured that the street lights were there but are not there. And we talk about these things being stolen to be used as trinkets. Have these people been arrested? Sometimes we see them around. You see people carrying things that we call junk.
But I mean, listening to you, we seem to be concluding that it's a society of entire impunity. Where do we start from holding people accountable, just so we start correcting the errors that we've lived with for these years?
I would say that it starts with us. It says charity starts at home. If everybody was to hold themselves accountable, and then after that you go to the next step. If you see something, say something. You see somebody committing an offense, you don't just gloss over it and think that the next person is going to take care of it. And anybody who is brought to book for committing an offense should go through the full rigors of the law. And an example should be made of that person. We live in a society where we unfortunately like to concentrate too much on political offenses committed by people in power. But somebody who has gone to steal covers or something, these things should also be given prominence, because these little things that we think are little, they have a ripple effect, and they cause all these things.
I don't know about, that's why I want to come to you, because you're a member of parliament. Why have we allowed ourselves, as in regular vehicles, to share the same road with trucks, and even within the same time, when you see different things in different jurisdictions?
So you see, some of those ones are safety measures. You see, when you pass laws, it's not everything that you can have in the laws. That's why for every law act you pass, especially these ones regulating certain activity, you always come with the regulations. So
but this is a major thing, because you see trucks driving the same time.
Oh yeah, so those ones, mostly they are regulated by allies. Because you see, when you pass an act, it has to be put into operation. The operationalization of the act is by the allies. And so some of these allies have this provision. But you see, as for me, our issue is not so much about the laws and the regulations. The whole issue is about the enforcement. And that we have said over and over again. That it's just like those who are supposed to enforce are not enforcing. And no one is doing anything about that activity. They are not enforcing. So you see, out for Parliament is just as good as passing the law. There are laws that regulate every aspect of our lives. But ask yourself, about 50% of those laws are not being applied.
Why? Because we have people in these offices that are supposed to be implementing this, taking their salaries every month.
Yes, and that's
so why are they not doing what they are supposed to be doing?
That is what we have to insist on. So we have to insist on the agencies and the institutions that they should do their work, and we should have standards. The unfortunate thing about us is that we do not have standards. We accept just anything. And when you build a society where anything passes, then it becomes a mediocre society, because everything goes. And then when you are hit with some of these things, then it exposes the inefficiencies in the system. What are our standards? When you go to advanced countries, look, in Essie, in Joburg, when you are on any of the highways, for instance, you are on a highway from, say, Joburg to Pretoria. When you hit the highway, do you know that if your car should develop a fault, there are some short posts like this. The height is like this. Each pole has a particular number on it. When your car stops you, where it will stop you will definitely be closer to, because the poles are not too far from each other, you'll definitely be closer to a pole. Now, when you stop, or whatever happens to you when you stop by the roadside on the highway, when you call the police, they will ask you, first of all, call the number for us, the immediate number on that pole. Then you mention the number. The moment you mention the number, I tell you, in less than 10 minutes, you have a towing car there. Oh. Less than 10 minutes. And each place, they have a defined distance. Each point you stand, you see one there. They don't need to ask you to give them long directions. And the cars are so positioned that you don't need one to come from Abasaman to rescue somebody, say, on the motorway. No. Each place is given some designated attention. And not just the towing car, they have mechanics. And so when you call, when they come with a mechanic. If it's something that can be fixed immediately, They fix it.
We have smart engineers in Ghana. Why have we failed to implement all of these when we are considering constructing roads?
No, the issue is that the engineers are there, but do we even have the policies? Is it a priority for government? You see, government priorities are also very key, because we have to, if our priority is what we always have, look, well, let's ask ourselves, when politicians bring their manifestos, we are always not talking about how they can better the already existing systems we have. Everybody's looking at new ideas. Everyone new things. Oh, they come to do this new thing. That is what we are. And so the politician in drafting his manifesto and even in implementing, they are always looking at doing something new, so that the politician will be credited with, oh, I bought this, I bought this, I bought this. But which politician will draft a manifesto? And if we can tell us as a society, we don't need you to come and tell us, don't do anything new. Give us your manifesto, which should put the existing system we have into very efficient mode.
Very good point.
You understand? So that we are not always looking at, look, when you and I, tomorrow, when we take any party's manifesto, we'll be looking at the new things they will do. And that is why we even engage our discussions. We will not look at what they will do to better the existing systems. So not until we as a society will begin to see these things as our priority. Yes, the things are there, but are they working every aspect of our lives? We are not addressing issues. There are structures that are supposed to address those issues. Unfortunately, the structures are not doing well, and our policies do not aim at bettering those structures. They are only aiming at creating, if you like, call them duplications, and other amorphous structures, which will not better the system. So the main structure is there, and it's getting weak by the day, and the monies are being channeled to new things. And the government will tell you that, oh, no resources, but the government will get resources to do the things they have said they will do in their manifesto. You understand? So it's a holistic issue that we have to look at. If we can, first of all, let's start with the way government policies are framed. Should the government be very focused on fixing the existing challenges and not come with these phantom promises? We are swayed by these phantom things, and so the politician will always do things that will help him get his votes. Yeah. You understand? And so we as a society, we should begin to select leadership based on fixing existing issues. You understand? And when the politician sees that, oh, this is what the people want. In fact, remember when we did our last manifesto, JM embarked on something we called speak. I don't know how we called it. Before the manifesto was done, His Excellency the President, when he was the candidate, he embarked on something to speak. It was a listening tour, more like. So he engaged every constituency, and they were telling him the problems. You understand? So when you do this, you get, look, and let me tell you, there's no problem that you get from the people that there won't be an existing structure that's supposed to deal with it. Yeah. But we, the politicians, will now be thinking about what new thing can we bring together. But can we also shift from there and say that, what are we going to do with the existing system? If we were giving these people this much attention, can we double that effort? Yeah. And when you give the person the resources to do the work, you can hold them accountable for what you have asked them to do. But the moment you stifle them of the necessary resources, it becomes difficult to hold people accountable. So Beatrice, it's a big conversation that we need to have. And like you said, we must, and I like your question, you keep asking, where do we start? Because we can't leave it hanging like that. So we must have a starting point. And for me, the starting point is that let's get political parties' manifestos to have at least 80% concentration on making our existing systems efficient. We don't need new things. No one should come and tell us they are going to do this. No. Tell us how you make the current systems work. Everything. For every sector, let's concentrate on what we have in place and look at the laws and let everything work. Look, if we make our systems efficient, we don't need new things to solve the problems we have as a society.
And what you were referring to is the Building Ghana tour, which was the interactive listening and campaign tour launched in 2023 ahead of that in communities. But I want to get your 30-second thoughts on. He's told us where we should start from, political parties. In your perspective, where should we start from in fixing the errors?
I'll start from where he landed. Regarding what's the name of the tour again?
The Building Ghana tour.
Building Ghana tour. It's good to listen. After listening to the people voted for you. You are now in government. Now what do you have to do? Implement the things the people told you. I am sure one of the things the people complained about What street light? You appointed a regional minister who told us sometime last year, I guess, that he had fixed 85% of street lights in Greater Accra. Where I live, Achimota, all the street lights there are not working. Today we have been told that on a major interchange like the Ofanko interchange that connects Accra to Kumasi, Kwabenya, Asufan, and all those areas, a major interchange like this, the street lights are not working. And you still have such a regional minister at post. Who should we blame? After going around to listen to the people, what do you do to what they told you? The people spoke to you, they told you their concerns, they voted for you, you are in office, you are the president, you have the power. You have to implement what they told you. You don't have to sit on the ideas that people have given to you. Again, as I learned finally, before Leonard comes in, you see, in all the footages that were showed, I didn't see anybody from the National Road Safety Authority. I think that we should have road safety patrol teams, because from the report, it is clear that when the Abobo Yao broke down, a police officer who was, passing by, or a patrol police officer parked, switched on his lights and, tried to mitigate the issues. But even that is what caused the issues. If there were standby patrol, National Road Safety Patrol teams, they would have blocked the right access to the interchange, so people do not even get to the top to talk about descending. And so I think that there needs to be, the laws are there, the agencies are there, the president has appointed people to work in those agencies, but the people are just sitting down enjoying salaries from taxpayers' money. They are doing nothing. And I think that it is an unfortunate thing, and it's honorable. If you have listened to the people, now you are in government. So tell your president to implement the ideas.
Lawyer Adija, your 30-second thoughts, and we'll wrap up, and I'll come to you. I'll give you the same opportunity.
We've all said a lot, and I think that it's just symptomatic of the many things that we sit around this table to talk about. Beatrice, I'm sure if you cast your mind back, maybe last year another panel was here. We had the same conversation. That's why I really like what Honorable said, because that's also one of my personal views about this country. We have so many things on the books already. We have laws, we have regulations, we have policies, we have things, all written and documented. Implementation and enforcement is one of the biggest challenges that we have. And the truth is that it is tied not only to the state institutions, but also to individual citizens and Ghanaians, because as you read out what Chumbuafo said, and I totally agree. You have metal, the metal they use for the median mitigation to block sides. You see that people go and take them and sell them as scrap. That is Ghanaians. In fact, even the street lights, we've had incidents where people literally were taking down street lights to go and sell. And even the rail lines were at one point. So it is not a matter for just the authorities, the whole nation, and even under our constitution, Article 41, every Ghanaian citizen has obligations to the state, because in as much as we have our Chapter 5 rights, everybody talking about rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of this, freedom. When you have freedoms, you must also have obligations. And one of the obligations that we have as Ghanaians is to safeguard and protect national assets. And these investments that have been used to do roads, to put in the media and all these things, to pay all these public officials and so on, is all related to getting the job done. So we should safeguard it by also doing our part.
Alfred Menso Numa says, please tell your panelists that it's not about laws, bills, etc. I have been convinced beyond reasonable doubt that we, Ghana, are mainly interested in passing laws without establishing the required infrastructural requirements for such laws. Please, your 30-second thought.
As a legal practitioner, I always tell people that we have so many laws that all of us here, if we were to be subjected to the law, we'll all be guilty of something as we sit here. You see? And Lom, I'm glad he quoted Article 41, because my thoughts as we were talking, there's a Bible verse that says that there was a certain time in Israel where there was no king, so everybody did as they pleased. I'm not saying that is what we have now, but one question that rings in my mind is, who is in charge? Who is in charge? And as Ghanaians, we should tell ourselves that you be in charge. We used to have very active neighborhood watchdog committees. And I quickly Googled Article 41 because I don't have my constitution here. And one of the things that it speaks of is protecting public property. We should have a reactivation of these neighborhood watchdogs. Relying on the top-down approach is not working too well. We should augment the efforts of the state. We should go around, assist the assemblies, keep them on their toes. If you see anything in your area, a traffic light that is not working, a road that is in bad condition, a driver driving recklessly, you should be able to report them. And you shouldn't act alone. We should, at my area, we have a neighborhood committee that sometimes we even contribute to fix the road because we are not waiting for the states. So we should all stand on our Article 41 responsibilities and make sure that we brighten the corner where we are. I cannot go all the way to Ofanko to go and help, but where I am now, I can help. Where Kwesi Jr. is, I think he said he lives around that
yes,
place.
That's his constituency.
He's also been assisting in a way. Let's all brighten the corner where we are. And all our efforts coming together will make a better nation.
We'll make a better nation. Thank you very much. And for all of those...
I just wanted to add something, just a second. On the issue of the efficiency, and I was referring to South Africa, there was a meeting I went into in South Africa. You know what? In that meeting, they were doing a presentation. And in the presentation, it came up. They were able to tell us at that meeting the number of potholes in that country at the time we were sitting there. The Road Safety Commission was able to tell us the number of potholes in South Africa.
So indirectly, our institutions should be up and doing. Thank you very much. Prince Nanaya, thank you. I've seen your message. Thank you, all of you who have sent in your messages. Want to say a big thank you to you, Mr. Kwame Nkrumah Bochio, private legal practitioner. Thank you very much for joining us. Also to you as well, Mr. Lom Nuku Ahlija, actually, a lawyer and law lecturer at GEMPA. To you as well, Mr. Kwesi Bochio, who is equally a lawyer and also NPP National Communications Team member. Thank you for joining us. And to you, the Honorable Abdul Fattah Al Hassan, MP for Yindi. Thank you as well, gentlemen, for joining us. And thank you. Remember that Roland Walker, my colleague, is still on the accident scene. And I said, when we have the latest information, we'll be going to him to bring you an update. My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us on The Big Issue this morning. I want to say a big thank you as well to Pamoni Clothing in East Legon for my costume this morning. Just stay with us.
been doing what Italian names in terms of dressing. I'm seeing hair to which is this one to where is it from?
This hair was styled by Surprise Salon. Yes. With branches all around Accra.
All around Accra.
Yeah, so it depends on which part of the city you are.
Oh,
you
okay.
can just hop into any of their branches.
Oh, okay. So they are not in the northern region.
No. You're referring to Pamoni Clothing, which is in East Legon. In
not
Accra.
Eastern region.
It's East Legon.
Oh, okay. East Legon.
Yes.
Okay.
But you're looking well.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was your time off?
It was interesting.
Okay, that's nice. I'll get the details of the interesting off camera.
Yeah.
But tell us, WAFCON, I'm not too excited that we've already exited, but Malawi is still making some waves, right?
Yeah, Malawi have made it to the final of the WAFCON for the first time in their history. They've been the giant slayers, basically, slaying all the giants that they faced. They defeated Nigeria in their first game, defeated Ghana in the quarterfinals, and have now defeated Algeria also in the semifinals to reach the final of the competition, where they'll be facing Cameroon. Cameroon themselves defeated host Morocco on penalties. So we are going to see a new winner of the WAFCON title for the very first time. Remember that the WAFCON has been powered by Goldfields Ghana. They have been supporting us in the coverage of the competition. So a very big thank you to them. And yeah, we'll see Malawi versus Cameroon face off in the WAFCON final later this week to decide who wins. Of course, these two teams have already qualified for the Women's World Cup for next year. That is something that Ghana would have to push for later today because they'll be facing Ivory Coast in a playoff. And when they win, they'll qualify for a confederation or an intercontinental playoff, which would drag a bit.
Why, in your thoughts, do you think we haven't performed so well? Because really, it's not been that impressive.
Yeah, I feel there are a number of factors. Age is a factor. Maybe they weren't as prepared for opposition like Malawi. Also, I feel like they had good success last year and should have built up on that this year, but the kind of opposition that they faced, they didn't look ready for it, unfortunate. And so we're seeing them having to go through a longer road to try and qualify for the Women's World Cup. And a lot has happened in the last 24 hours or less than 24 hours regarding that. There was a statement purported to have been written by the Black Queens, although it wasn't signed officially by the Black Queens. But what I can say is I did see a key member of the team actually post that statement on her IG story, but has deleted it. I did screenshot it, so I know who that key player is.
Okay.
I just don't want to mention the name, but I screenshotted it myself. But yeah, this was a statement purportedly from the Black Queens player saying that they wish to raise concerns regarding several outstanding financial and welfare matters. That includes per diems and some welfare challenges that they deem have not been met. So that is from them. But there was, okay, so this is part of the statement. We believe that financial commitment to players should be honored on time and that the welfare of national team players must be treated as priority. We want to make it clear that this statement is not intended to create conflict or disrespect anyone. The minister only came only once during our first official training session, and the president also attended the same session. Apart from that occasion, we largely had to rely on ourselves, our teammates, and our technical staff throughout this journey. So this is a purported statement, right? So this is a list of what they stated. Outstanding bonuses, including the Egypt 2025 bonus, WAFCON qualification bonus, group stage bonuses, outstanding per diem payments, better management support for players and officials, mental health and well-being support. Our request is simple: transparency, accountability, fairness, and respect. And a few hours later, the Ministry for Sports and Recreation released a counter statement. Now, that counter statement was basically saying that their per diems have already been paid. In fact, they even added proof of signatures from all the players in the team. So I'll read key parts. So these are the signatures, proof of the signatures of all members of the team to receive their monies. So on the case of the ministry,
we have paid you. The only thing outstanding really is their winning bonus from their first group game in the WAFCON. And they explained that it has to go through due protocol. So right after they finish the competition, that is when they are supposed to receive it, because it has to go through due process to finally reach them. So that is the only thing outstanding, but everything else they have already paid.
So obviously debunking the earlier report from the supposed Black Stars Queens representative, as it were.
Yes, and I'll read parts of the ministry statement now. Let me read this one. There was no government approval for the payment of winning bonuses for the WAFCON qualifying matches against Egypt, and this position was communicated to the Ghana Football Association. It is therefore inaccurate to characterize a payment which was neither approved nor established as an entitlement as an outstanding government obligation. This is one part of it. You remember they beat Egypt home and away to qualify for the WAFCON. Yeah.
Yes.
So the previous statement from the purported members of the Black Queens was that they were supposed to receive bonuses for that. The Ministry of Sports and Recreation said that they had already established that there was no bonuses to be paid for that particular qualifying game. So So this is another part, right? The ministry also takes note of the concerns raised regarding player welfare, health, and mental well-being. The Black Queens are currently supported by a comprehensive team structure comprising a team member, team administrator, 2 physios, a medical doctor, a nurse, a dietitian, a chef, 2 management team members, and additional technical officials, all providing the necessary medical, nutritional, administrative, and general welfare support throughout the tournament. So, an actual full debunking. At this critical moment, the Black Queens are preparing for an important FIFA World Cup qualification playing against Cote d'Ivoire. The ministry believes that the immediate national priority should be to provide the team with the environment, encouragement, and support required to pursue qualification for the FIFA Women's World Cup Brazil 2027. So, the Ministry of Sports and Recreation debunked that purported statement from members of the Black Queens.
Indeed. At least that should settle whatever arguments that were going on social media following the first statement that was issued earlier. But there's an update on the Bavaya Sports Stadium.
Yeah, the NSA, led by Jan Pofankra, went to pay a visit to the Bavaya Sports Stadium because the stadium is being prepared for the upcoming 2026-27 Ghana Premier League season. And so he came to have a look at it. There was a viral video days earlier or weeks earlier on how the grass was being treated or how the workers were trying to resurrect the grass. And it didn't come out, it didn't go down well with people on social media. Now, Jan Pofankra paid a visit, and my colleague Emmanuel Owusu was there and filed this report.
Okay, so we'll have to bring you that story later, but we need to move to the Netherlands now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Xavi Hernandez has been appointed as the new coach of the Netherlands national team. A bit surprising because he's Spaniard and he's not someone really linked to the Netherlands, but they have deemed it very important to appoint him. There was someone like Roberto Martinez who was linked to him. But Xavi did a good job at Barcelona before leaving for Hansi Flick to take over. This is his record: 239 games, 157 wins, 36 draws, 46 defeats, a win percentage of 65.7%. That's a very high win percentage. So he'll be looked up to actually produce very good results for the Netherlands leading into the 2030 World Cup, because that's how long his contract would last, and then the 2028 European Championships.
And then we have the UEFA Super Cup.
Yeah, PSG defeated Aston Villa by 2-1 to win that UEFA Super Cup. Varaskelia and then Desiree Doué score for PSG. And that means that Luis Enrique now has 13 titles as PSG coach. That's the highest by any PSG manager. And he's really led them to incredible success over the past 2 years already. And it looks like they're on their way to even more success in year 3. So kudos to him. brilliant from PSG, and of course we'll see how they perform in the Champions League. Here's a breakdown of his 13 trophies at PSG: 2 Champions Leagues, 3 Ligue 1s, 2 Coupe de France, 3 Trophées de Champion, 2 UEFA Super Cups, and then 1 FIFA Intercontinental Cup.
Messi bidding for farewell to his dad.
Yeah, his dad unfortunately passed away. He released a very emotional statement, and he sort of hinted at retirement from football because his dad was really close to him.
Yeah.
His dad used to attend a lot of his football matches. Here's that statement. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I don't know how to carry on. All I ever did was play football, and now I have serious doubts about whether I'll keep doing it for much longer. You were by my side from the beginning. There was so little left until the end. Why couldn't you hold on just a little longer so we could finish it together?
That's a very emotional statement.
Very emotional.
Yes.
That's how close he is to his dad. We wish him strength in a very difficult period because his dad was a really important part of who he is as a person.
Yeah, and you're back at 10, right, with Sports Daily?
Yes, we have an exclusive interview with Rahim Ayu coming up on Sports Daily, so do tune in and you listen to, one of the Abedi Pele's children and his career and then, relationship with his brothers and all of that.
I look forward to that. I hope you do as well. Thank you very much, Debilishan, for bringing us the latest in sports. When we come back, we'll bring you some more conversations. Do stay with us. I did promise that we'll be going back to the accident scene where my colleague Roland Walker currently is to bring us the latest from there. We're returning there now. Roland, if you can hear us, what's the latest?
So we're coming to you again live from the accident scene right here at Ofankor. And if you're heading from the Jonte area, you might even before then be coming from the ACP Junction or Pokwase and heading to Accra. It's where we have the accident scene. So far, it looks like the road has been cleared by the Ghana National Fire Service, the police, MTTD, and other officials who came here, including the National Fire Service and then also the National Ambulance Service, taking away the injured to the hospital for some treatment. We're told that since the initial injured persons were transported or carted to the hospital, we've had one more of those injured, adding to the fatalities that have been recorded. So the casualties are high, but also same has been the fatalities. 11 so far for a gruesome morning accident that has witnessed over 7 to about 8 cars that have been crashed and mangled together as a result of the accident. And so far the road is free. We have officials of the MTTD who are available, and again just eyewitnesses and other officials who are still available. And the Ghana North Municipal Assembly has also deployed its task force to make sure that they are able to help in the containment and the management of traffic in that regard. And for that matter, you will find that it is important for all of us to put that in context. One person who has been with us is the assemblyman for the area. He's been here since the early dawn of the accident, has been monitoring and then coordinating with his municipal chief executive as well, who is on an important assignment within the jurisdiction as well. We've had some interactions on phone, and then he also has been giving directions as well. His assembly person is here, and the Honorable Kwashi, you take a look at so far what has transpired. You say that it looks like we've contained the traffic situation.
Exactly, everything has gone on well now. It's left with only some scrap metals to be taken off the road. Now the traffic has started flowing freely, so everything is under control. And the MCU too, it went to the eastern region, but it has stopped whatever it's doing, and it's on its way coming, so that it quickly joined us, so that we look at what is happening.
And we noticed that during the interactions, the National Road Safety Authority and then the area officials for the National Safety Authority also were on ground to be able to help. It looks like a concerted effort. All the agencies coming together, the assembly playing its role. You are here, your chief executive is also on phone, constantly also interacting. We had the AMA boss who also lives close by, going to work, also passing by. And the police and the fire service and the ambulance service. It looks like the coordination has been up to date.
It will be perfect, because if you look at the road safety, the NADMO, the assembly task force, and the police, everybody is working together, and so far so good. We have been able to control the situation.
All right. So we'll go on to the National Road Safety Authority. We have one of their area officials who is here. And what's your name, sir?
I'm Felix Owusu.
Mr. Owusu, for road safety, how or why is it important that constantly you are able to also respond to some of these? Because I see that you've been up to the job this morning as well. Why is that important? And particularly you find that the responses we got was that people tend to park on the shoulders of the road, and it looks like the street lights also don't seem to be working as well. But you still seem to be working within some of these challenges to be able to keep safety on the road.
Yeah, so as the National Road Safety Authority, I think our mandate is very simple. It's to make sure we work to reduce the incidence of road traffic crash, or what most people call accidents on our road. So National Road Safety Authority, basically that's what we exist to do. And so, I mean, sometimes when we hear of such things, it's very disheartening. But I was telling my boss, I mean, when the accidents occur, at that moment, for us, there's little we can do. Because what we do is we are being proactive. We don't even want it to happen in the first place. But when it happens, then we also have to come out and also assist the other emergency response teams, i.e. the ambulance service, the fire service, and the police. And let me also use the opportunity to commend them for the work they've done. Because since, I think 4 or 5 a.m., they've been on ground trying to take the casualties, those who have been injured, to the various hospitals. And then also, even those who are the fatalities, also transport them to the morgue. So we are commending them for the very good work done. But that is not. We also, once there are also debris and people around, they still have to make sure we don't even record other incidences as well. So that's the reason why you still see. And then we are also here to also support them. And again, also pick some few information so that we can also get the official records, what really led to the crash, so that it will help us in our policy formulations and also in subsequent education to the general public.
Well, Mr. Usu, the last word then will be, I talked about the shoulder of the road, the parking, the lack of street lights working in response to safety. You have to implore on the authorities to do what is needful. Mr. Usu.
Yes, exactly, because normally when I'm talking about the causes of road traffic crashes, I do not neglect the role of the agencies or the institutions. So National Road Safety Authority, we have our responsibilities to play. The road agencies, so they are responsible for the construction of the road, the design and construction, and also maintenance of the road. And so, of course, when the street lights are not working, especially in the night, that reduces visibility. And all these things are some of the factors leading to the various fatalities in Greater Accra, especially when it comes to even pedestrian knockdowns in the region. And so this morning we are employing on our road agencies to make sure they lit our streets for us. And then apart from that, all motorists using our stretch should make sure we stay within the posted speed limit, because most of the crashes that occur, you realize that the impact of this particular stretch is as a result of the speed. Okay, so once we're able to also reduce our speed, we'll be able to sometimes reduce the impact we see or have when there are such crashes on our roads.
All right. Mr. Usu from the National Road Safety. I saw your boss. What's your boss's name?
Mr. Joshua Quist. He's the regional director.
Okay, so regional director, Greater Accra.
Yes, Greater Accra.
For the National Road Safety Authority.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Joshua Quist. Mr. Quist, thank you for passing through as well. It's been quite an exercise this morning. But look, the fire service from the operational department, PR, and then even the topmost. I have Assistant Chief Fire Officer Nisawu, who is here, and he's a regular. He's come on our shows a couple of times. And then also, what's your rank?
DO1 Judith Akokre.
DO1 Judith Akokre. I tell you, fire service, these days they are not playing, you know. But it looks to be a very well mopped up exercise. Yes. What will be your clarion call when it comes to emergencies, especially for road crashes? We noticed that my brother here and his team operationally, Mr. Nkrumah is also here, and then Madam Lecky is also here as well. The education goes on ground, but we noticed that residents around accident scenes or sites tend to encroach, and so there are statistics of incidents of fires and burns and things like that at the fire incidents. What will be your caution in the first place?
I think that I want to thank you very much, Roland, and thank you to your cherished viewers. I think I want to use this opportunity to at least educate the general public. It is good because of our nature as Ghanaians. We want to extend a helping hand anytime there is a problem. That is our nature. But I want to use this, your platform, which is a big one, to advise the general public. Sometimes, if it is about road traffic collisions like we are having today, in your attempt to help, you may cause a lot of trouble or injuries to those who might have survived. Because in our rapid intervention vehicles, we have neck collars, we have spine boards, we have everything that is there. That extricating the casualty, we don't just carry the casualty like that. We put the casualty, we lash the casualty on the spine board and then stabilize the neck very well with the collar before we hand over to the ambulance. So if you just carry the person anyhow, if you don't take time and there's a dislocation that has to do with the person's spine, unfortunately, you are the final person who has sent the person to where he might not have gone. So that is my preliminary comments about this. I also want to use this your platform to educate the general public, especially the motorists. I had people complaining that there was no street light and so on and so forth. Visibility. But I want to say that drivers drive from here to Navrongo, to Paga, to Aflawo, to Elubo and the rest. There are no street lights from here to Elubo. But at least they are managing and going and coming.
You said they should be defensive.
It is just because we are not being defensive and cautious enough. Because if you listen to the preliminary comments of people who were here in the beginning, if the necessary precautions had been taken on, we wouldn't have been where we are at the moment. So that's my comment.
All right, and we wish you all the best as
Thank
you
you
try.
very much, Roland. I think you promised me that we'll be meeting, so I'm expecting.
So we'll bring you back to the studio and then we'll have some interactions thereof. But what's your name?
Ediobun Hago Anson.
Okay, so
I think I want to use this opportunity.
They were part of the operation.
Yes, I want to use this opportunity to thank the strong men, the gallant men of the Greater Accra region who took part in this particular exercise. We are a service that when others are running away, we run in. And today is a clear demonstration of how brave our men are this morning, and you can bear witness to what they did. So I want to use this opportunity to thank Amasama, thank National Headquarters, the education team, and each and everyone who came here. The Deputy Director Operations himself was here. I want to use this opportunity to thank everybody. Thank you so much.
I like what you said.
Yes.
You said when others are running away from danger,
yeah, we are
running to
the danger. It's all because we've been trained and we have the capacity to handle. And we need the general public to cooperate with us, to encourage us to do more.
All right. I wish you all the best. That's Assistant Chief Fire Officer R.K. Nisawu, who has helped us do the interactions as always. And please make sure that for all the things we do, when you are on the road, you also drive defensively. It's very important. And look, these are the remnant. They bear testimony to what transpired this morning, the wreckages. And of these mangled vehicles, you can even see the traders who were bringing their products, oranges, plantain, whatever. You can see their slippers, their personal belongings, all lost. You know, and this was engulfed in some fire as well. So it's been a very gruesome morning so far, but we have to go back to the studio for the latest updates.
Indeed, thank you very much, Roland Walker. Been there all morning, bringing us the latest we need to know. Just to refresh your memory again, that unfortunately 11 people have lost their lives from this accident. As again, at the last count, we're told that about 7 people were unconscious, had been rushed to the hospital. Later, we had one of the officials telling us that about 13 people were rushed to the hospital, and we know that includes one young lady who has had both legs severed, and we'll bring you more as and when we have the latest on it. But if it is your birthday today, like we do it here, we want to help you celebrate it big. We want to wish you all the best as you celebrate another milestone. Stephanie, wishing you happiness. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Stephanie. Ekia Kunedru. Happy birthday, Kunedru. From Scotland, Edinburgh. Happy birthday. Kizita Nunana Ablometi. Happy birthday, young lady. Elijah Kofi Appel Shiamang. Happy birthday to you. Reverend Dr. Frank Asumedu, Alabama, USA. Happy birthday to you, Rev. Paulina Langdon Sese. Happy birthday to you, Paulina. From your brother, Epiphras. Oh, he's right here in the studio. Abdul Manan, grow in Allah's protection, grace and abundance. Happy birthday to you, young man. I like the photo shoot. Hannah Ngaso, we celebrate an incredible colleague from family and friends. Happy birthday to you. Well, to all of you celebrating your birthdays, happy birthday to you and wish you all the best and a great year ahead of you. Well, from all of us, myself, Beatrice Edu, Roland Walker, my colleague who is still on the accident scene, from the production team, Koko, Shadrach, everybody, thank you so much for being with us today. Do join us again tomorrow, but stay with TV3 and of course all our affiliate stations, 3FM and the rest, because we'll be bringing you all the updates you need to know on the accident plus some other major stories. We wish you a great day.
Is it what we have? Do you want it?